There was a couple of them. All praises, all praises. Shalom, shalom alaikum, Shabbat, shalom alaikum, mishpaka. How y'all doing? Climb on there. I see y'all already in the chat. Y'all climb in. We're going over part 2, growth and development of the so-called Negro child. I got receipts. I got the receipts. Everything I was talking about last week, I'm going to show y'all this week. That way I don't think y'all keep just making up something. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through. We're going to read some of these charts. We'll pull up one of my old presentations. We're going to go through and dig out these sources and just show that in order to truly train up the Negro child, you're supposed to be preparing him to be revolutionary. That's the only way. Right. That's the only way you can train up the so-called Negro child is for revolution or war. You know what I'm saying? Any other thing or any other way you're trying to train him up will be adding him to the system or adding him back into the Babylonian construct. And to truly train up a so-called black woman and a so-called black man, you have to be teaching them psychological and revolutionary warfare. Because that's the only way that we can take back this construct. That's the only way we can take back our history, take back our identity, and be back on top. And notice that's why when Christ come back, he coming back with what? He coming back and bringing war. He coming back with a sword, with an army. Because the only way that you can put this system down and the only way that we can be on top again is truly by waging war against this beast construct that we in, because they not just finna give it over to us. They schools is made to water us down and work against us. They food is to depress our DNA and throw off our pH blood to further oppress us and to kill us. Every construct or everything that they put in play is to keep us watered down mentally, physically, and emotionally. So the only way to get away from up under them, like when he say come up out of her, he just don't mean come up out of her, meaning don't live around these people, don't fellowship with them. He mean come up out of them mentally as well, and that's the major part that we was. I mean, we have so many crazy inside of our brains that love to hold on to the system, love to hold on to this beast. So outwardly we look like that we set apart, but when you sit down and you talk to people or you look at their everyday life, you see that bits and pieces of them are still a part of this European theology. Right. And it's time for us to truly take our children from this system and rear them up the right way according to the culture of the Bible. So that's what we're talking about, this part 2. We got a lot of stuff to show y'all. We're going to go back over that video again. I found out what the part was that it was talking about how they basically created the housing projects out of basically John and them, the Kohen and them. They made projects out of cardboard box and mices, put them in there for 2 years. And I mean, it's crazy. Like the diabolical plot on the so-called black man and black woman is crazy, man. And it's very, very deep. I mean, it gets so deep and detailed, it'll blow your mind. Everything that they do is made to keep us oppressed. Everything. If you wearing they clothes, that's a way of oppression. If you eating their food, that's a way of oppression. You drinking their water, that's a way of oppression. You looking at their television programming, you're being oppressed. You hearing they radio programming. Notice the words to these things. Programming. That's oppression. You reading their books, that's oppression. You reading their lying ass history, that's oppression. Everything that they do and they put out is against you. Everything. Look, and if y'all think I'm lying, when sun goes down, give me the Cash App. I will give $100 to anybody after the sun go down that can name one construct that this white man done put together that is for our benefit in the long run. That's for freeing our people and freeing our nation. If y'all can give me one, of them, I'll give y'all $100.
Food stamps.
That's totally against us. That's totally against us, because what food stamp does is it makes us depend on them more. Right. And that's what feminization really means. Feminization of the black man is not a man that's acting like a homosexual. That's a homosexual. For a black man to become feminized, that means that he have become dependent on somebody else to provide for his household. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to get into that definition too. So there is nothing that this government system have given us or our children to free us or that benefit us. Even if it look like it benefits you, it's not for your benefit. It's the big okie doke, the 2-3.
Some type of psychological warfare.
Some type of psychological warfare. So look, we finna get into it, family. Y'all climb on in. We're gonna pray on in. We're gonna get it started. And I'm gonna start it off with the video first, because the video was messing up last time. And we're gonna explain the video, and then we're gonna get to the lesson. Let's get it.
What is that? You got your phone plugged in right
Yeah, you need something plugged up?
You want to move it?
Closer to the right. This is shot. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Oh, I got you. All right, let's get it.
All praise, glory, now to the Most High. Y'all know how we do.
Hallelujah.
Praise is stipulated in the Bible. So being in the west, we face east. Jerusalem is that way. And pursuant to 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, men are to uncover their heads and women are to cover their heads when praying and prophesying. 1 Timothy 2:8, 1 Kings 8:54 instructs us to spread forth our hands when we pray. You know what I mean? So we got a direction. We got to do, whether to cover or uncover and what to do with our hands. The order of prayer as is stipulated in the Holy Bible. Hallelujah.
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 All praise. Y'all ready? Yabareka Yahweh Veish Merika Yahweh Pona Elika Vikuneka Yasa Yahweh Pona Elika Ve'asem Kashalom Ve'asem Kashalom Yabareka Yahweh Ve'ish Merika Yahweh Pona Elika Vikuneka Yasa Yahweh Pona Elika Ve'asem Kashalom Ve'asem Kashalom. Amen. Hallelujah.
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 Amen. The Most High shall bless you. The Most High shall keep you. And he shall shine his face upon you. He will bless you. He will keep you. And he will give you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Heavenly Father, YAH'KI, Yahweh El Elyon. We come to you in the name of Adon, the Master, Yahushua Mashiach. We take authority over Satan and all his evil spirits from our position at the right hand of you, Yahweh, seated above every name that is named, in the power and authority of Adon, the Master, Yahushua Mashiach. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against and attack, to break the back and bind the strong man powerless. Bind the strong man powerless over every heathen nation that is oppressing your precious 12 tribes of Israel this very second. We cast them down and we cast them out to a herd of swine in the name and the authority of Yahushua Mashiach. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war. We loosen all your ministering angels of warfare. Send forth your most militant and elite angelic warriors to break the backs and crack the skulls of every ruler of darkness. To break the backs and crack the skulls of every principality over all the worldwide organizations. The 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, the Rothschild bloodline, the Astor bloodline, the Bundy bloodline, the Collins bloodline, the DuPont bloodline, the Freeman bloodline, the Kennedy bloodline, the Lee bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Rockefeller bloodline, the Russell bloodline, the Van Dunn bloodline, and the Merovingian bloodline, the House of Saud over Saudi Arabia, the House of Windsor, all the popes, Jared Kushner, Henry Kissinger, Robert Gallo, Ayatollah Khomeini, Bill and Melinda Gates, Anthony Fauci, all their bloodlines. We bind all of them powerless. We bind the strong man over all Masonic orders in every religion, the Catholic Churches, Vatican City, communist empires and Yahweh's governments, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, CIA, MS-13, La Cosa Nostra, the Mafia, Hamas and Boko Haram, every street gang and drug cartel, the Illuminati, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the World Council of Churches, the Americas, every common market nation, Canada and Mexico, Every organization that has rituals that are contrary to the word of Yahweh and the authority in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. We take power over all foul and evil spirits, authorities, princes, kings, powers, world rulers, and the highest and mightiest servants of Satan. We bind them to be powerless. We bind them to be powerless in the mighty name of Yahushua Mashiach. Yahweh, in the authority of our Adon Yahushua, the Master, your eternal Son, we pronounce the judgments written in the scriptures upon these evil and greedy conspirators in and over these worldwide organizations. As it is written, Yah, we ask you, we beg you to bring upon them the judgments found in Psalm 109, that chapter, Psalm 149, that chapter, in Revelation 18, that chapter, Yahweh El Elyon, the owner, the creator, and possessor of all there is, in the name of the Master Yahushua Mashiach, we bring before your throne all the sick in Israel, all who may be plagued in mind, body, or spirit. Your word says whatever we bind on earth is bound in heaven, and whatever we loose on earth is loosed in heaven. We claim authority, we claim power in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, who is seated at your right hand right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. We loosen all your ministering angels of healing. Command them to rain down a healing that is complete, a healing that is understood right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against an attack, to break the back and bind the strong man called the coronavirus, and the fear of it, and the fear of it that's plaguing the minds of your people. We declare it powerless. We cast it down and we cast it out into a herd of swine. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against an attack, to break the back and bind up every sickness. Bind up every sickness and disease that's afflicting your people this very second. We declare them all powerless. We cast them down and we cast them out through a herd of swine in the authority, in the power of Yahushua Mashiach. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray. Yahweh El Elyon, Yahweh Tzibaoth, Master of the heavenly armies. We loosen all your ministering angels of warfare. Command them to rain down and crack the skulls of every virus and every sickness that is plaguing your people this very second. Command them to establish a protective border around your saints. Command them to come against, confound, and put down every sickness and unclean spirit that is in opposition to the well-being of your people. Command them to render a judgment in our favor right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. In the name of Yahushua Mashiach, and by his mighty and precious blood, we pray, Yahweh El Elyon, Yahweh Yireh. We loosen your ministering angels of provision and blessings. Command them to shower us with the blessings of Abraham, your friend. Command the Ruach HaKodesh to chase us down and overtake us. Command the blessings of Deuteronomy 28 to chase us down and overtake us. Command the fruits, the gifts, and signs of Ruach HaKodesh to chase us down and overtake us. That wherever the sole of our feet tread, we may boldly declare the reign of Yahweh is now. The kingdom of heaven is now. The kingdom of heaven is now. The kingdom of heaven is now. Accept our prayer and accept our petition in the power and authority of Yahushua Mashiach, your eternal Son, the Holy One of Israel. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray and we declare war on the kingdom of Satan. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Oh, yeah. Shalom, family.
Let's go. Can I tell you sweat, boy?
That's right.
All praise. Hallelujah. All praise. All right, let's get it. I'm gonna fix this real quick.
You supposed to end it with a real thing.
All praises, all praises. So look, y'all see what we're going over today? We're going over part 2 of growth and development of the so-called Negro child. basically how to bring the child up politically, morally, economically, teaching wise, and truly show the separation from how they educate our children and how we supposed to educate our children. Our children are totally different from their children. Our minds are totally different. The way our brains are structured, our bone density, even down to our DNA is very, very different from their children. So of course we cannot have the same educational programs. Of course we cannot have the same PE programs, social programs, history programs. They all have to be different. Our history is very different from the Europeans' history, especially here in America. Here they are slave masters, and here we are slaves. So you can't teach me from a slave master perspective if I've been a slave all my life in this European construct. So that's the reason that we must separate from them, because the mindset is different, the atmosphere is different, the environment is different. Everything that's between this culture and that culture, there's a cultural differences. So why are we pushing our children to go to their educational schools? Why are we pushing our children to take hold of their traditions, their holidays, their clothing, their shoes, and the way they view black people? We should never view so-called Negroes from the perspective of a European. We need to view so-called Negroes from the perspective of our own ancestors, and we have our history in our books to do that. But we haven't been doing that because we still have one leg into our culture, and then we have the other leg all up this heathen's butt, and we don't like to admit it, but we do. And you can tell what we do. Just look at how our children act. Look how we interact. Look at the things we get into, how we argue and hate each other, how we come together on certain things and don't agree and fall apart. That's the wolf pack action. That's how wolves act. That's how gorillas act. When it comes time to eat and hunt, they together. But the moment that they get the food, they start fighting with one another. We have learned these things from our oppressors, and that's what's keeping us back from our kingdom. That's what's keeping us back from our God. When he said come up out of her, he just didn't mean physically. He meant mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And these concepts we still got inside of the heathen. We have to truly, truly separate ourselves, because we are separate people. Even when you get physiology, how you say it, physiology, physiology is not even the same. Even down to our nails, the calcium inside of our melanin, how we have selenium in our melanin. They got ammonia in their melanin. Down to our hair, our facial hair, our structure. I mean, even our thymus gland. We have thymus glands. By the time they turn 4, they don't even grow a thymus gland after that. It start reversing. So for that much different blood, for this melanin neurotransmitter that go throughout our brain, through the way the sun hit our skin, the way water is, our taste buds, how melanin is on our taste buds and our ear and our skin, even the environment react differently to us than it does to these other people. So with that being said, I'm not saying that there's a race issue with us against them. I'm saying there's a race difference. And if there is a race difference, that means we must be taught differently than them, because they will never view reality the way you view reality, because you are a Negro slave that's coming back into your kingship. You see that? They took that from you and took your history and rewrote it and kept you oppressed and suppressed for so long to keep you in there. So they're going to always view things different from you. So any construct or anything that they create, anything that they promote, anything that they hand out, or anything that they give out for free is going to be for your demise, and it's going to keep them upright. So I said that to get to the school part. So with all that being said, and before we start the lesson, so if you actually look at the school construct, it's constructed for prison, to get our children ready for prison, to get our children ready to become inmates. That's the reason why you go to school on a bus. That's a prison bus. When you get to school, you have to stand in line. That's a prison line. When you go to your classes, you have to sit in rows at desks. That's a prison school and prison teaching. You see what I'm saying? And then when you teach them, you're teaching all of them the same curricula, but everybody mindset developed differently at its own race and pace. So we need to be teaching our children individually by themselves, according to where they're at in life and according to where they're at in environment, because everybody is created with their own genome code. Everybody is already created with their own intellect. So we truly have to match people intellect and teach them that way. But we can't do that in the school system. So when he say train up a child, he meant that. See that? He didn't say train up children, train up a child. Each of them have to be trained up in a unique fashion and way according to the genetic code that Yahweh have put in them. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get to it. We're gonna go to Proverbs chapter 22. Let me share my screen. And we're gonna bring it out.
Hey, what you saying is deep though, if I can say something, bro. What you saying is deep. So when I was growing up, they had this thing they called the standard of beauty. You know what I mean? And it basically was the Euro Gentiles way of saying or their measurement on the beauty of women.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything from the top of their head down to the sole of their feet.
Yeah.
So hence you start seeing people get to the bleaching of the skins.
Yeah.
And of the hairs.
We show. I'm sure.
Yeah. Now it's crazy because when you look at our beautiful sisters and their fullness and their righteousness, there ain't a heathen on this earth that can compare. But see, if you tripped off the European standard of beauty, and then you would have brought in a fine sister, you know what I'm saying, that was in shape according to our standards, it looked very good. You know, they would deem her as fat.
Yeah, they will.
According to their standard of beauty. I'm like, what you talking about? This heathen over here ain't even appealing.
Yeah.
You dig? So even down to that, like what you was talking about, everything that this heathen like gives you, he thinks militant against you.
Yeah.
He don't think like, okay, I got your benefit.
No, he's at war.
So if he's at war, then your whole mindset has to level up.
And
because he's not giving you anything for the sake of look, because he just woke up today and said, I want to be kind.
Right.
Like it comes down to a point to where you got to realize that he's incapable of that.
It's not in him. It's not in his DNA. And with that being said, I'm glad you said that. So they let you know in school, if they already on top and they already reigning, that they taking their children to school to teach their children to maintain that. That's they right. Teaching their children to maintain being slave masters. Now, if they teaching them to maintain that, then what are they teaching our children? They teaching them to maintain being oppressed and suppressed, to maintain being in slavery, to being inmates. We're going to school to be taught how to be criminals. Look at it. That's why our children can't get with the school system, because they're gods. They're gods inside of baby bodies. See, we always judging them by the physical body they in. These are old souls from the heavens that just took on these immortal forms. So we got children in school that you giving them math problems, they is uninterested in them. You teaching them a history, they DNA feel that it's a lie. So they gonna be acting out, they gonna be running around, they ain't gonna be paying attention. Clinically and trially, they gonna say that they got special learning skills, ADHD. No, we're teaching them the European knowledge, and their DNA is bucking against it because you have something called cellular memory, and the Negro child know that it's not right. They are spiritual babies. It ain't sitting well with them. So, of course, they start acting out. They're bored. Our children are bored at school. That's what's really going on. Now, when you actually get into this scripture, we're going to look up what this means, and then it's going to let you know that we're really supposed to be training our child. What are we training them for? We're training them for warfare, because that's the only way we can get back on top. You can't get back on top talking to this heathen. You're not going to be able to get back on top trying to make agreements with this heathens. He is already setting his way by DNA structure. And we're gonna get into DNA. We're gonna show it. It's already written in his genome code. The only way to get back up is to actually train our children to think revolutionary wise. Period. That's the only way that we can overthrow. Hence the reason why Christ is coming back with a sword. He's not coming back to talk. This is a revolutionary war. Revolutionary. He ain't coming back to rap with these kings and with these other nations. He's coming back to overthrow. Notice, before he come back to overthrow, first thing he come back and do is he set the millennium reign, right? Inside of this millennium reign structure, he reteaches the language. We get our language back. All right, he reteaches land. We get our land back. Then he teaches the 144 how to make war. You see that? So why are we not having this same construct right now? Teaching our language, getting our own lands, having our own school systems, our own educations, because that's what Christ is coming back to do for the millennium reign. Then there's going to be a war. But before the war, we got to be trained up first, right? You see what I'm saying? So now when we truly read what we finna read, we can look at this from a Hebraic perspective and say, dang, this is why we need to start applying our culture and get our culture back. All right, let's get it. So we're going to start this off in Proverbs 22:6. Proverbs 22:6. And we finna look up this word. Let's get it, bro.
Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child.
You see that? Train up a child. Now, notice how singular this is. It didn't say Yeladim or train up children or sons. It says train up a child, because each child have his own individual consciousness. So we have to train that child according to the consciousness he at. I can't sit two children down at the same age and teach them the exact same thing, because they're going to act different because their genetic makeup is different, meaning they think different. One of them might like red. One of them might like blue. So if you like red, I'm not going to give you a green apple to teach you how to say apple. I'm going to give you what you like, and then I'm going to stick to that and show you what an apple is. From that, I can break down this apple. This apple bring forth seed. This apple is good for you. Then I can teach you a spiritual meaning. Seed is inside of man. If you plant these seeds, an apple tree will grow. All according to how he like red apples. You cannot do that same thing to a person that don't like apples. Maybe he like oranges. Maybe you need to use an orange. Well, what the European construct have did is an orange every way. Up and down is an orange. Whether you like oranges, whether you like the color orange, they're going to teach you from their perspective. So then when we don't get it, we get labeled clinically insane. We get labeled ADHD. We get labeled with all these things that creates paper trails and follow you throughout school, preparing you for prisons. Y'all see how this work with them? Because their whole thing is to keep you oppressed and suppressed. I'm telling you. The heathen is not handing you anything that's going to have you mentally grow, because the moment you mentally grow, you realize that you are God here on earth. And that the worst thing that a Negro can realize to them is that fact right there, because then we start unifying and we want to revolutionize. We want to fight back. And we outnumber them so much. We are not, the biggest lie that they put out there in propaganda is we are minority. We are majority. Our feet touch, the sole of our feet touch every corner of this planet and every corner of the heavens, y'all. We even in the galaxy. MELCHIZEDEK. We part of everything. You know what I'm saying? We got connections with the angels. We are part of a heavenly army and all of that. So they want to keep you. They want to keep you away from that. Why y'all think they weaponizing space and stuff like that? It's going down.
That makes sense. Hey, look, if y'all watch the 13th on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing about the Juneteenth thing we talked about last night. Slavery never ended; it just evolved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then they come up with the 13th Amendment, and most of us think that it was to abolish slavery. But there's a clause in there that says, except if one commits a crime.
Yeah.
Right. So then, right after phase one of slavery, when you so-called was emancipated, it comes phase two.
Phase two. So
what they do, they come up with the prison industrial complex.
Exactly.
Lock everybody up from grown to children.
Yeah. And
then they instantly enslaved our people right again.
Yeah.
They sharecroppers, you got to share crops.
Yeah.
All type of matter.
Yeah.
So if we are the majority locked up in what they call the prison industrial complex, we producing airplanes and everything from inside jail. Yeah. You know what I mean? Slavery just evolved. That's it. And that's all it went from. So to celebrate Juneteenth or to act as if we as a people are free is madness. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then that's another thing. You see how they gave you Juneteenth? Yeah. They gave that to you to keep you further what? Oppressed. Yeah. Because now everybody got the black power fist up, walking around, dancing and celebrating. But Negro, Monday, you got to go back to your 9 to 5. And on the first, you still got to pay that $1,100 rent on a property that you don't own. See that they give us stuff to keep us mellow and not, because the moment we start questioning things, bro, our DNA start connecting. When our DNA connect back, bro, that God-like spirit come out. And that's what you see, bro. Four Negroes tear down a whole police station, or you see what I'm saying? So the whole thing is they always spoon feed us bull crap to keep you asleep. You know what I'm saying? It's always a 2-3 with them. There is never nothing legitimately honest about them. Everything to them, everything about them, their way of living, and everything is all to keep you oppressed and suppressed. And I know it sounds hurtful, but it's the truth.
Hey, y'all grew up, a lot of elders grew up watching Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
Wally Cleaver in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's your image of heathen. And they all just cool and funny.
Yeah, next door neighbors.
And all that. Man, look, I'm trying to tell you, like, if you understood how he was thinking against you, you would level up on that level beyond.
Yeah.
Instead of looking to be accepted or to be a friend. Now, y'all, we ain't saying you can't be cordial. Like, I talk to other nations all the time when we be out. My bums, hey, what's going on? Hey, right, you know what I'm saying? Cordial. So you can be cordial with them, but you don't gotta. You don't have to integrate. You don't have to live amongst them. You ain't gotta marry them. You ain't gotta eat what they eat. You ain't gotta worship what they worship. You understand? We have a holy way given to us. Yep, and everything that they do is against the holy way given to us. Yeah. So if you knew your enemy was thinking militarily, why are you thinking club? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you knew he 24/7, they thinking millenniums. They done weaponize their whole mindset. Like they prep their children, like you were saying earlier, to dominate your children.
They do. Just
That's
listen.
a sizzle. That's what you up against. You ain't about to defeat anything or get anything purpose out here complaining, because that's not even protesting.
Right.
You just complaining. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's very deep. Bro.
So look, let's get it. So look, read that again. Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. Notice it's speaking singular here, showing you that we supposed to be paying different time expansions in a different way to our children. They have different desires to train them up. Maybe this child ain't good at math. If this child ain't good at math, then and they good at reading, maybe we need to stick with reading with this child. Her brother good at math. Let's get him good at math. As long as we get her at the basic level to count her money, she cool. Half of that stuff you teaching on math and all of these high quantum math, you ain't even using this stuff no way. Why is they giving us all this junk education? That you would never apply to your everyday life. What do y'all think that is there for? Yeah, you ain't never using it. That is to take up extra space and time to keep your mind focused on these physical constructs and not to tap back into your spiritual culture. I'm telling y'all, if y'all, I got books that I'm finna be references. Buy these books and read them. It will change your whole mind on the system. I'm telling you, it'll change your whole mind. So it says, train up a child in the way he should go. Come on.
And when he is old, he will not depart.
See that showing you whatever the child learn while they're young, they take it with them and they use it throughout their whole entire life, even when they're old. So if you train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So if you train him up in the European construct, most likely he's going to be stuck in the European construct when he's older, and he's going to be so set in his ways that he won't depart from it. When a Hebrew brother come and show him, hey, you a Hebrew. He gonna be like, nah, we the Canaanites. Nah, we Egyptian. Yeah. And he's gonna be so stuck in them ways because the whole time he was little, he have brought into the reality, and you done installed in him that he is these things. You see that? That's why we gotta start them while they early. Now let's look up this word train, because again, I stated the only thing that we should be teaching our children is revolutionary war, period. Because that's the revolt. To be rebellious against the system. We should not be teaching anything else other than that, because the moment you agree with the system is the moment you become a part of it. And I know this sounds crazy and I know it sounds radical, but we have to have a radical mindset to actually change this thing for Jake can be on top and Esau to come up under us, man. I'm telling you. And look, if you think I'm lying, how is Christ coming back? He's coming back. He's teaching. He's coming back with a sword for war. Not only is that, for 1,000 years, he's going to be reteaching us our language. He's going to be reteaching us the way of living. He's going to be reteaching us the commandments. And what else is he teaching us? How to go to war. He prepped 144,000. Then the last thing is the what? Armageddon war. After he done taught us. Christ coming back for revolutionary things. A revolutionary vision, bro. He's not coming back to agree with these heathens, to talk about how can we come to it's no dictate. It's none of that. He coming back for war to overthrow. Showing you the blueprint, what we supposed to be following. Now, do we have the weapons to do that? No. But what is our greatest weapons as Israel? Our mindset and our God. First thing we have to do is come out from her mentally. That's the biggest weapon ever. Because notice that's what they're doing to us. You see that we all thinking that they're just killing niggas in the streets. No, they killing millions of us mentally every second of the day. Walking dead, a whole lot of walking dead so-called Negroes. Don't even know it. A part of their system, a part of their agenda, and look just like me and you and say shalom and everything. See that?
And then they stole with the babies, man. So
yeah.
Even with that, just like with social media, it's like me personally, like children, I believe children shouldn't be on social media.
No doubt.
Like when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these different social media platforms, man, children get persuaded. You can teach your children all day long about the Most High, His God, and commandments, but then as soon as they get a friend who they come close with, they get persuaded by that individual. Like I said, when it comes to TikTok and all these different platforms, man, we have to train our children to stay away from those things. Like sometimes we can barely handle what's going on Instagram or Facebook. You get on there to make a status about the kingdom is at hand, but then a video pop up of a woman twerking or something. Now you up on that video for the longest, you get caught. So at the end of the day, it's like, look, if you can barely handle what's on the internet, your child can't. So we have to watch these children too. Like brother saying, like train up a child. Like you have to train the children, because at the end of the day, we are the Most High's children. We are the child that's being trained also.
Yes. Now, look, so look, we're going to look up the word to see what train is. The word is kanak. You know what I'm saying? Kanak. Now, look, let's look this up. It's the Hebrew concordance. Look at this stuff. And then we're going to break down the word.
Strong's H2596. Chanach.
Kanak.
Chanach.
Uh-huh. Now, watch this when you look it up. This is what this means. So, train. It says to dedicate, which comes from Kanuk, or where you get the word Enoch from, Kanuk. So you have to train him up to be dedicated. That's why it says train him up and he won't depart when he get older. It's something he's dedicated to, right? What that say?
Inaugurate.
Inaugurate. What that mean? What that mean? Huh? Let's look that up real quick. We're gonna look that word. Let's look that word up real fast.
And
inaugurate. Inaugurate says began or introduce a system, policy, or period. He inaugurated a new policy or trade of exploration. It says to admit someone formally to public office. So to put somebody in a position, inaugurate.
This is what happened when they select the president.
Yeah, inaugurate. See that? It says initiate, began to start, to initiate. That's deep.
So what feast day do we have called it?
Dedication.
Yeah, feast of dedication.
Hanukkah.
Yeah, Hanukkah. Yeah. So it says to dedicate, to train, to inaugurate. If you look down at the actual Hebrew Strongs, it says a primitive root. It says to narrow, figuratively, to initiate or discipline. To discipline, dedicate, to train up. See that? So we think it's fun. When we training our children, we want to make it like they at the playground. That's not it. We train them for war. Do they play in the armies? Is the Navy SEALs out playing? When they swimming, is they throwing them rubber duckies and telling them to chill out, put some sunscreen on? No, it's hard time. Do you know in the Navy SEALs, they drown you first? You actually get drowned first. They would drop you off in the middle of the ocean and tell you to make it back to shore. Or we're going to come back and search for your body. Hey, straight up. It's that serious down when it comes to this construct. Like our children need to raise up knowing that they are soldiers, knowing that they are against the system and knowing that the system is against us. Right. Well, right now, our children think it's cool. They think it's cool. They have no fear going down the street and seeing these Europeans and seeing the police, and they think it's all good. But like what I just seen on Facebook, I seen a young black boy playing basketball in his driveway, right? And the police rolled down the street. Do you know what he did? He tucked his ball and hid behind the Range Rover. And then he waited till the police passed, then he started playing again. So, and look, everybody was like, oh, that's just bad. Look at what we coming to. I was clapping. I was like, he get it. He know that that European is the enemy. Right. He getting it. You know what I'm saying? We need to start that same thing in our children, just like we teach them, daughters, if you got on a dress, make sure you keep your legs closed. Don't never sit on a man's lap. How we teach our children that. We need to be teaching them the same thing about this European construct. Why don't we? Because we still bought into it. That need to be the teaching. Everybody want to know about reading and math. That comes along with it. That's your foundational principles of education. True education is raising up kings, queens, and entrepreneurs. Those that are producers. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we need to get into. So it says train up a child. Now let's get into the actual lesson. Before we actually get into the lesson, I want to show y'all this video though, because we watched it last time. So if y'all got y'all phones, turn on to the lesson and watch this. Turn this to, because now. Me and Drew was watching it last night. It actually said it. I don't know why I didn't say it last week, but it said all of it this week. So we're going to play this deal on out, and then we're going to pull out these scriptures. Make sure everything turned up. I hope it is. Can y'all see the screen? Type in some nines if y'all can see the screen. We played this last week, but it didn't play them parts. Yeah, let me put the mic up too. It's gonna kick in. It always got a late start. I don't know why. Y'all can see everything now. Peep this. Peep how diabolical these plots is on us to keep us asleep and to keep us in a slumber, y'all. Peep this. It's gonna kick in. I guess they make it like this for
one human experiment of the same vein was Pruitt-Igoe, an urban housing project consisting of 33 11-story apartment buildings on St. Louis's lower north side.
These developments are run by the St. Louis Housing Authority. This is a far cry from the crowded, collapsing tenements that many of these people have known. Here in bright new buildings with spacious grounds, they can live with indoor plumbing, electric lights, fresh plastered walls, and the rest of the conveniences that are expected in the 20th.
Okay, so look, what we see is that the European is giving us something. Now remember, whenever he give you something, death is coming from it. He never give you nothing to lift you up or to bring you into a more intellectual place or to bring you closer to your God. Anytime he give you something for free, the end is always destruction. Watch this.
First occupied in 1954, the same year as Calhoun began his mouse studies at NIMH.
All right, let's note that. 1954, the same year that Calhoun began his mouse studies. He had something called the Project Studies, where he took mice, 2,000 of them, and he put them on top of each other in cardboard boxes. And it's going to show y'all what happened. Watch this.
Pruitt-Igoe was supposed to be a shining solution to overcrowding and to replace the dilapidated mess of poor and working-class slums that had taken over most of St. Louis, when half the industrial base moved away after the war.
They called us poor and working-class slums. Oof.
But there were strings attached. All kinds of...
Y'all heard that? There were strings attached. All right, so if you want this happy way of living, you want to, because remember it says free public housing, free water. It gave them all these free programs, but it's strings attached. You want to live this lifestyle? Guess what you got to do? You got to get rid of your black king. Watch this.
Regulations and restrictions were put on the Pruitt-Igoe residents. The father of the household was not allowed to live with his own family.
There go the first one. The father of the household was not allowed to live with his own family. It get even deeper. Social workers came by and checked your crib. If they even found some man boots in that deal, guess what? You got to get out. Huh? Now, according to scripture and according to Malaki 4:6-8, it says the fathers need to have their hearts turned to their children. Fathers need to be inside of their families. Fathers need to lead their household. But according to the European construct, the back father can't be in the household. He's at war with you.
And they sent welfare workers around to make sure the men weren't in the apartments. The people were put under total control.
The people was what? Put under total control. See that? I give you something free, but it's a 2-3. It's an okie doke at the end. You know what I'm saying? In one hand, I'm shaking your hand, but my hand that behind the back got a whole sword in it. See that? They come speaking peace, but in behind their back, man, they got a sword. This is the construct of this heathen. Yeah, most definitely.
Hey, can I read this real quick?
Yeah.
This is just a few verses. Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 4.
You might well get that Thessalonians too.
Sirach, chapter 40, or Ecclesiastes, chapter 40, verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life, for he polluteth himself with other men's meat. But a wise man well nurtured will be worthy thereof.
And that's why we ain't supposed to be eating their food, drinking their water, wearing their clothes, living in their houses, living in their... We straight depending on another man's table. So when he say jump, you gonna say how high? Because if I don't jump, then my family ain't gonna eat. This is how you feminize a man. Feminizing a man is not making him gay. You just a homosexual at that point. Feminizing a man is taking the very manly characteristics from him. A manly characteristics is not to provide, y'all. That's a European construct to the black man. We're not supposed to provide. We're supposed to produce for our family. We're producers. That's way beyond providing, y'all. Y'all realize that, right? See, they teach you to just provide, to keep your mind worried on bills and to make sure bills paid. A producer have no bills because he owned the land, he owned the house, he owned the crops, he grows his own food, he have his own educational programs, he have his own weaponry. So there's a difference. See, notice the white man produce, the black man provide. Providing haven't gotten us anywhere, have it? Woman still cussing you out, woman still out of order, children still rebellious and bad. You still sleepy, tired all the time. Don't even have time to keep the Shabbat because you working 9 to 5. You're a provider. A king don't provide. That's the white man construct that he done put on you. They don't even provide. They produce and make you the provider. Y'all see how crazy the construct is? These are things that's been taught to us, though. You see that? A man ain't supposed to be paying bills because you shouldn't have a bill. Because you should have bought that land and built that house with your hands. Where's the bill at in that? Where's the bill at in that? If you built that house with your hand, what's the mortgage payment? So you wouldn't be a provider at that point. You would be a producer. Y'all get the difference of the construct. All right. Well, look, it gets deep with this, man. It gets deep. Go ahead, bro.
Again, verse 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life. For he polluted himself with other men's meat. But a wise man well nurtured will be worthy of. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shame.
Let me get up here to this welfare office. Man, my food stamp card. Let me get back up here to that. All right, so you so dependent on that, but the moment they cut them off, then what? Then what? You see that? Then we go around parading like we good with this. You ain't make that on there. You ain't a producer of that. Why are you even bragging on it? You see that? But the moment they get cut off, it shows you how much of mental slaves we truly are. We have to pull back from the system, y'all.
It says it's not counted for a life.
See that? It's not counted for a life. It's not even living. Go ahead, bro.
Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless. But in his belly, there shall burn fire.
Go ahead. You had that, what you had, YAH'KI?
And that's just proof that we're not living.
Yeah.
You so scared to lose what's not even life.
Yeah, it ain't even life. Ain't even healthy to your bones.
You depend on another man's table.
Yeah.
We as a nation, don't think nationally when these things come out. We as a nation are still dependent on the table of our oppressors.
Exactly.
So that means this is not worthy to even be called a life.
It's not.
That's why.
Because we're not even sustaining our own lives. At this point, y'all realize at this point, we're not even surviving. We're literally children of the oppressors right now. They give us clothes, food, shelter, and tell us what to do, and we do it. And I'm talking about Hebrews. That's deep. It just lets you know, have you really come up out of her? No, you haven't. You celebrate your feast days. You keep the commandments. All that's good. But if you look at how it's supposed to be, see, the commandments is supposed to bring you about mentally. The commandments, if you follow the Bible and the blueprint to the T, you will become a producer. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you appreciate things more, because that house you built with that hand, you actually can look what your hands did, and your children can benefit from it for thousands of years on. Have we done that? That's what I'm saying. That's why with certain groups that's out here getting it like that, hey, we applaud them. Keep it going. Keep it going. We ain't knocking you at all, because we might disagree with some of y'all teachings or many of y'all, but what y'all doing right here, this is how you really take the construct back. This is how you take coaching back right here. Start being a producer of your own.
Action.
Yeah. Come on.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them.
You see that? As soon as they say peace and safety, like it's all good, destruction comes. They never come in with something that's going to benefit you. It's always a 2-3. That's that Jordan. You think he's finna take it to the hole, but he'll pull back and throw a 3 on you. You be like, dang. Right. That's that 2-3. 2-3 you real quick. Come on.
As travail upon a woman with child.
Ooh.
And they shall not escape.
All right, let's get it. Now check this out. Let's read the rest of this.
And became hopelessly dependent. In just 2 years, the urban planning social experiment began to fall apart.
Tried for 3 days to get city and housing authority officials to help remedy the plight. The disaster that fell on Pruitt-Igoe, the water lines in several of the Pruitt-Igoe apartment buildings broke, a sewer line.
So look, all of a sudden they gave them all the stuff. It looked all peaches and cream. Then they end up busting the water pipes. They end up knocking windows out. So they make an environment a real bad case for them, right? We're going to talk about that.
Broken maintenance crews to board up an estimated 10,000 broken windows.
See that? 10,000 broken windows. So rain, wind, any of that coming in the house. So it's something. And look, the thing that they do is they don't only just get think tanks together to go against you. They hire the world's best scientists on their side. They hire the world's best generals, and then they plot against you. They dealing with biology, micro cells and organisms. I mean, chemical warfare, germ warfare, television warfare. Like they warfare is on such an elite high status against us that you don't even know what's coming. You literally thinking you free, but you still be a mental slave. This is how deep this is. We need things like that. We need more scientists. How they study us. When is somebody going to study him? We need to start studying him, studying his biology, see what he's made of. And once you really start doing it, you realize that he ain't called a beast for no reason. This is not a human.
The beast of the earth.
Hey, for real. We gonna get to it. We finna get to it.
Raw sewage bubbles out of the ground like a malevolent spring. Breakdown of services. Clean up the mess. No one ever showed.
First of all, we had this area declared as a disaster area, as an emergency area. No dogs, cats, or rats that you can just take us and just put us just anywhere.
You see what she said? She said, we are not no dogs and we are not no rats. Well, this whole Pruitt-Igoe apartment building was built off a rat project construction, and it's going to show it.
Well, we can leave. The sense that the housing project was also an experimental laboratory.
What it say? The housing projects was an experimental laboratory.
Was literally in the air. It came out decades later that during the 1950s and 60s, Pruitt-Igoe was even the subject of top secret chemical warfare tests.
See that? Pruitt-Igoe was it was a straight subject of top secret chemical warfare. They dropping all types of stuff on them. You know what I'm saying? Chemtrails, driving mosquito trucks through there. I mean, giving them syphilis. A lot of them got HIV. They was giving them free hepatitis B vaccinations. A lot of them end up catching HIV and AIDS from them. If y'all actually do the research on this, man, they thinking they just getting blood tests and they thinking that they giving them condoms out and stuff. Half the condoms had coated stuff on them that sterilized them, that caused prostate cancer. Look this stuff. Look, this is documented. This is documented. Everything I'm saying, you can look it up.
Conducted by the U.S. military.
You see that?
In 1972, the Rockefeller Foundation funded.
So who did this?
The
The Rockefeller Foundation was over the Pruitt-Igoe.
Rockefeller bloodline.
Yeah, you see, we praying against him right here in St. Louis. He had his filthy hands building these high rises.
That bastard it'll be like 100.
That's right, Marcus Israel. It's all on record. Project literally.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all did y'all peep the new government agency they built on it?
Yeah.
There's a whole new government. It's like a spy agency or something. Down on Jefferson Cash.
I didn't even know that.
If you drive by and look on the fences, it's they got their banners out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They say the future site of so and so. So I Googled it. It's straight government spy shit.
Right down the street from the FBI building,
You know what I'm saying? But it's right there where Pruitt-Igoe was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jefferson and Cash.
Check this out, y'all.
Study that's become known as the Mouse Utopia
See
experiment.
that? So it's called the Mouse Utopia Experience. This is where projects came from. It's called the Mouse Utopia Experience. It comes from Johns Hopkins University.
Something like it was discussed in the film The Matrix when Agent Smith is interrogating Morpheus.
It's a little known fact. The first Matrix was programmed to be an ideal habitat for humans, all needs provided for, but it failed miserably. Your species rejected the code because you're hardwired for pain and suffering. Entire crops of humans died, and we were forced to reconfigure the system.
Watch this, y'all.
Behaviorist John B. Calhoun
All
built
right, here go John B. Calhoun. This heathen was a Jew. Look him up. It's a Jew. Notice all of them be these Jewish people too, boy. Look, I'm telling you.
a mouse paradise with limitless food.
All right, so he built the mouse paradise with limitless food, welfare, food stamps. Then he gonna provide them the place to eat and live at. That's where you get the projects from. Check this out.
Look at your enemies, Zion.
Yeah, so look.
Where the mice would have everything that they would need.
All right, so he's created an environment for the mice to have everything that they would need. Now check this out.
Utopian conditions of nutrition.
Y'all see it? These are cardboard boxes, y'all. He just straight built high rises out of cardboard box. This is way before a project was ever built. They got his construct from this. And he worked for the military. Look him up. He was a scientist for the military. His name is John Calhoun. John Calhoun. He worked for the military. And he worked for the cancer industry. Yes. And he got connections to Robert Gallo and them who created AIDS. Man, look, all of them are Jewish. All of them, man.
Makes sense. Nazi mind science.
Oh, man, what happened? It went off. Hold on, let me go back to it. My bad, y'all.
People have known.
At NIMH, Pruitt-Igoe was supposed to be a shining solution to overcrowding and to replace the dilapidated mess of poor and working class slums that had taken over most of St. Louis, when half the industrial base moved away after the war.
Breakdown of services. Clean up the mess. No one ever showed.
First of all, to hand this area was even the subject of top as the Mouse Utopia experiment. Something like it was discussed in the film The Matrix when Agent Smith is interrogating Morpheus.
It's a little known fact. The first matrix was programmed to be an ideal habitat for humans, all needs provided for, but it failed miserably. Your species rejected the code because you're hardwired for pain and suffering. Entire crops of humans died, and we were forced to reconfigure the system.
Behaviorist John B. Calhoun built a mouse paradise with limitless food, where the mice would have everything that they would need.
Utopian conditions of nutrition, comfort, and housing were provided for a potential population of over 3,000 mice.
In just 2 years, 8 mice turned into 2,200
See how they reproduce?
before they succumbed to a mouse
So
apocalypse.
he said just in 2 years, 3,000 mice came into 22,000 or something like that. So 3,000 more than multiplied. Because remember, he was feeding them food, he gave them welfare, he gave them food stamps. So they eating and making love. That's all they doing.
Paradise.
Yeah, they in paradise, right? Check this out.
Became unequal. Although each living unit was identical in structure and opportunities, more food and water was consumed in some areas.
What Calhoun found was, once the population increased to a certain threshold, even though they technically had everything they needed, those who lived in the highly populated areas would become randomly aggressive, violent, and withdrawn.
Violence became prevalent.
Females rarely carried babies to term, and when they did, they hardly cared for them.
You see that? So they have babies. Half of them have stillborn babies, and then when the mice did give birth to babies, they gave birth to babies and they didn't even pay attention to them. They just let the babies grow up and do their own thing. Don't this sound familiar? Huh? Mother's not caring for the children. Watch this.
The larger the population, the less care a mother gives to her nest and young.
The younger generation
Exactly. In the club. Look, this how you know in the club. Look, these mice taking care of them. Only thing they worried about was their beauty. Watch this, bro.
would not even attempt to reproduce, but spent all of their time eating and grooming themselves, and ultimately they grew quite dumb.
You see
Other
that?
young mice grew up
They was only focused on the outer appearance. All they did was groom themselves, but intellectually they was dumb.
going into adulthood exhibited an even different type of behavior. Dr. Calhoun called these individuals the beautiful ones. Their time was devoted solely to grooming, eating, and sleeping. They never involved themselves with others.
You see that? They never involved themselves with others.
Engaged in sex.
the hood rats, bro. That's where the hood rats. That's where it comes from, bro. Yeah, these the hood rats. Only thing they worried about is looking good and getting they own. That's it. Yeah.
Or would they fight? All appeared as a beautiful exhibit of the species.
See that? Look, he said even though it's a beautiful appearance of the species, it's gonna tell you that inwardly they is graveyard. Watch this.
With keen, alert eyes and a healthy, well-kept body. These mice, however, could not cope with unusual stimuli.
You see that? So even though they looked good, they couldn't cope with unusual stimuli. When a problem arises, they didn't know how to handle the problem because they're not smart. They haven't been taught how to survive. Only thing they've been taught is how to look good and open their legs. That's it.
Though they looked inquisitive, they were, in fact, very stupid.
You see that? Even though they look inquisitive, in fact, they were very stupid. Huh? Like a broad that look good, thick, and everything. She opened her mouth. You like, who the hell raised you? Don't know nothing. Yeah.
The study was repeated with rats hooked up to electromagnetic sensors in a multi-level high-rise-like structure with similar results. Though they technically had everything they needed, they lacked purpose.
Even though they had everything they needed, they lacked purpose. Well, guess what gives you your purpose? Your culture. They didn't have a culture. They had food, water, housing. They had everything they needed, but they didn't have an identity. You see that? That's what's going on with Israel right now. We lack culture. Look at him.
Calhoun said himself that he saw the fate of his mouse population as a metaphor for the potential fate of man.
All right, we can stop there right there. Let's get back to it.
A metaphor for the potential fate of man.
Man, what you was talking about? Who right? Talking about us. Let's get back to it. All right, let's get it. So, what I want to do is go into the commandments and what we're supposed to be doing, and then the lesson is going to open up from there. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. So y'all got to see that. Did y'all hear that good? If y'all heard that good, type in some 9s, and we'll keep it pushing. Just make sure y'all heard everything.
It's crazy. Brother said we chose that over the Most High.
Ain't that crazy?
It's crazy. Like, that's the conditions that we chose. We chose to disobey God, and now the heathen compare us to rats. We not even compared to the children of God. Now they compare us to rats. So we chose that over the Most High.
Yeah, good rat.
We
Like
chose this construct, y'all, based off what you just showed us. That means you are living the construct of some wicked evil.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You studied out variables and all that. So this is the construct that we chose. You know what I'm saying? When we turned our back on the Most High, by default, we chose this.
Yep.
To be up under this authority. You know what I'm saying? An animal. Because only an animal can do something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how far your mind got to go to be like, let me go ahead and do this with some rats or something. Varmint. And what they call them, vermin.
Yeah, vermin.
And now running through the cities now in the heathen's construct of what we call rats.
Yep.
Whether hood rats or somebody snitching supposed.
Yep, you're a rat. You a
Right,
snitch
a
because
rat.
you squeal. Yeah.
Right.
So it's wild, man.
It's crazy.
It's wild, bro.
All right, let's get it. So we're in the book of Bereshit, chapter 1. We're going to start at 27. And my bad if the lesson going slow for y'all online. I had to show y'all that. That way y'all can catch everything what we talking about.
And you're good, brother.
Yeah.
All praise. We are
Good.
my
Well
good.
needed.
My good. All praise. Let's get it.
Genesis 1:27. So Elohim created man in his own image.
All right, so Elohim created man in his own image. I want to point out, until when you get to Genesis 2, every man that's mentioned there, every time you read man, there is Adam. But when you get to Genesis 2, it's changed and it becomes Ish. And it's very, very important that we note that because it's going to show you what a man's supposed to be. So we're going to look that up later. Go ahead, bro.
So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim, God created he him. Male and female created he them.
All right, so he created them and he gave them a purpose. He gave them a command of what to do. What did it say?
And Elohim blessed them.
So he blessed them. Come on.
And Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. This is the commandment he gave man right after making him, which was reproduce, make children. Why is that so important? Why is that so important that we must make children? And once you get into it, you will see why. Because Adam was literally created to be a biological weapon to wage war. That's what he was created for. That's what we are. We was created for warfare. So why are we not teaching our children warfare? We teaching them everything but that, when that's what we were created for. Come on. So he said, be fruitful and multiply, which is the first command he gave man after he created them. Come on. And replenish the earth.
And be producers. That's what it means to replenish the earth. Grow trees, grow crops. He said, go replenish the earth. Grow whatever you need to make civilizations. Go do that. See that? He didn't create them to be providers. He created Adam to straight be a producer. Produce. It's deep, man. Come on.
And subdue it.
And do what?
Subdue it.
Meaning to rule it.
That's right.
Have dominion.
That's right.
Come on.
And have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Right.
And over the fowl of the earth.
Who got dominion over our seas? The Europeans. Who got dominions over our air? Do you realize that there's certain air pockets you can't even fly through? You can't even fly over the Antarctica. They'll shoot you down. Do you realize people that bought air? People bought air. Bro, what's his name? Medea. What's his name? Tyler Perry. This dude bought they said man, he straight bought air. He bought an air. He brought an airport and his own little flight thing, right? And bought air. Airspace. If you fly through his airspace, you straight gotta pay him. How the hell do you buy air, bro? These heathens, bro, you have to buy water that comes naturally from the ground out of springs. So everything that he gave us to have dominion over, they got dominion over. They the producers now. They done subdued. Huh? That's crazy.
They had to subdue it. You got to pay for Wi-Fi.
Hey, you have to pay for which is another. That's electrical air. You got to pay for Wi-Fi. That's electrical air. It's just air cellular tower networks in the sky. You got to pay for that. Straight up. You have to pay to cover your own behind. You got to pay for your clothes. or you can produce your clothes. You see what I'm saying? So what you finna learn is the only way to truly train up your children and to teach them correctly. We have to teach them to have a revolutionary mindset. Period. That's the only thing we're supposed to be teaching them, is to rebel and buck and kick against this demonic structure. Straight up. Otherwise, you're gonna get sucked in. For real. And you know that we have to answer for our children, right? Right. All right, then y'all better start training them up the right way. And then when we looked up the word train, it says discipline and dedicate. And it says if you train him up the right way, when he get older, since you installed all these things in him, he won't depart. Just like we're not seeing them depart from their wicked ways right now. You can tell that their whole childhood has been messed up. You constantly talk to them and they just don't get it. Like, what the hell going on with this boy? Because he's old in his ways and he's not departing from what his family have taught him. So we have to catch him while they're young. Got to. Come on, bro.
The rest of verse 28. It says, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, right, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
All right, now look, this is after destruction. After the first destruction, Adam and Eve was created to wage spiritual warfare. Well, Adam was created to wage spiritual warfare. Eve was created to nurture him and get him ready and prepared. That way, when he come home from war, he can actually be relieved. You know what I'm saying? That's the help me. And we're going to read about that too. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 9. Genesis 9, and we're going to start there from 6. Now that's the first instructions after destruction. If anybody know, we did a video talking about the heavens were of old. We talked about the war that was in the beginning, and then he created Adam and Eve. Well, then another war came and he killed the world. The whole world drowned, and only a few were saved. He's going to give them the same commandments, which is to go forth, to be fruitful and multiply. So we see children is his number one concern again. What is so special about so-called Negro children? And that's what the lesson is building up to. So let's go to Genesis chapter 9. And start that deal at 6, brother. Get there. Yeah, you got it. Genesis 9.
You got that up.
And 6.
Exodus chapter 2 down there too?
Nope, I ain't got that. We can get it. All right, Genesis 9 and 6. Come on, let's get it.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 6. Whoso shedded man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed.
Right.
For in the image of Yah made he man.
Ooh, come on.
And you be ye fruitful.
There it go again. Be ye fruitful. Come on.
And multiply.
So what he tell them again? Have seeds. Come on. And now not only that, what he say?
And multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth.
Meaning have a lot of children. Come on.
And multiply therein.
And multiply therein. Now, what is so important about our children? Let's get into the importance of children. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 127. Psalms 127. And start that deal at 1. Psalms 127 started at 1. Let's see what's important. Now, remember the last lesson, we actually looked up children. We looked up the words for children, of bond, of bot. We looked up these words, man. It's some very, very deep stuff there. All right, so we in Psalms 127, family. Shabbat shalom, brother.
Shabbat shalom, bro.
Psalms 127, start that deal at 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 127.
It
says laboring in vain.
Right.
Except Yahweh build the house, they labor in vain that build.
Ooh, come on.
Except the Most High keep the city, the watchman waketh, but in vain.
Come on, brother.
It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows. So he giveth his beloved sleep.
Come on.
Lo, children are an heritage of the Most High.
You see that? So this is the important thing. Children are an heritage of the Most High. Children are a gift. Why are children a gift to you, though? Why? What is the purpose and point of children? Your name and your legacy move on through them. See that? How you going to subdue and have dominion over something if you ain't got no children to leave behind to do that? What's the point of having land and having a house and being a producer? You don't have children to live on that land when you die, to harvest them crops when you die, and to pass it down to their children. You see that? How do y'all think a father's name live on? Right. Through his children. We need seeds, bro. We do. We need seeds out here. That's why it's a command. Look, let's keep reading.
Lo, children are an heritage of the Most High, and the fruit of the womb.
And the fruit of the womb. So look, the fruit of your wife's womb is what?
Is his reward.
Is your reward. Yeah. It's nothing more rewarding for your wife to actually get pregnant. That is a beautiful toasting moment.
Yeah.
Dang, that means you got more replicas of you out here.
That's right.
That's beautiful. Especially if you a European rebellion, boy. We need more of those out here. Let's give birth to all types of rebellion children to rebel against this evil system. Y'all see that? So it says children are a reward. Come on.
As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children.
You see that? So and we read this scripture last week. So as arrows are in the hands of a mighty man is a warrior. His arrow is his gun. That's his prized possession, because that's what's going to help him win the battle, win the war. It says, so are children in their youth. Why are they so precious and so special and so rewardable in their youth? Why is that? They are your weapons. Your children was created to protect you. Let's look. We're going to read it.
It's compared to the arrow.
Yep. Look.
Check. Verse 5 says, happy is the man that hath his quiver full of.
See, the happy is the man that have a lot of children around him. Come on.
Yeah.
They shall not be ashamed.
They shall not be ashamed. Come on.
But they shall speak with the enemies in the gate.
You see what they do? So what do the enemies do? They speak with the enemies in the gate. They are your barrier. Your children are here to protect you. Your children are here to take care of you. That's why you put so much into them. That's your children is your retirement fund. You see that? Your children is your money according to the scripture. According to the scripture, a rich and wealthy man is a man that had a lot of children that was trained upright. Now look, let's go even deeper into it. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 17.
I get this.
I say the heathen know that too, because if you think about it, they culture trying to shame us for having a lot.
Most definitely. And look, you see that it's then trickled down into the so-called Negro woman. I can't date a man more than 2 children. I can't mess. How many got that many children? Or women are in the mindset where they don't even want children. No, I can't deal with children. What do you mean? It's actually it's a curse for you not to have children. This is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Because women, and I'm not saying that y'all are not important, but women value is in her children. A woman value is in her vagina and how many children she can produce from her womb and what she can do for her husband. Notice when the older women get, they depreciate in value. The older man gets, they increase in their value. You see what I'm saying? So the construct is you don't see old men out here looking for old women. Right. You see old men looking for what? Younger women. Why? Because they're able to produce from their wombs. When you get into the cultural construct, I mean, these are just facts. So women it's good that you get it while you're young and get it early. You know what I'm saying? If that womb can produce babies and you in the right conducive environment, have children. Have them now. Because look, we are losing. Our army is getting killed in the streets by the police. Our army is getting killed in the neighborhoods by our own people. Our army is being demasculated, turning into all types of faggots and homos. So have as many children as you need. We need young boys, but we can train them up to be a part of this revolutionary war that Yahweh is coming back to wage on this European construct. These are facts. Come on.
I got this. I got a precept. This is Sirach chapter 30, 3-6, real quick.
Right.
It said, "He that teaches his son grieveth the enemy."
Ooh.
Hold
on. Read that again, boy. Why I ain't had it down? Do I got that, man? Boy, that's a dagger, boy. Read that loud, man.
Sirach chapter 30, verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
You teach your son, you grieve the enemy. That's the whole lesson right there with that one verse. Come on.
And before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead.
And why is that? Because he taught him properly, man. Come on.
For he have left one behind him that is like unto himself.
You see that? So did he really leave? No, his name and his legacy and his DNA through cellular memory live on through his children. You never really die. Straight up. You straight passing down your DNA and your cells. That's deep. Come on, brother.
While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies.
That's right.
That's deep, man.
And one that shall requite kindness to his friends.
Hallelujah, man. That's why we got to train them up the right way. Look, we in Proverbs 17. Let's go even deeper. Proverbs 17, start at 4.
Rock 30, right?
Man, that's dagger. Yeah, that was Ciroc 30. That was a straight name.
That was one of the scriptures you gotta write down. I ain't read about him in a few years.
Yeah, Ciroc 30. That was Ciroc 30 and what?
3 through 6.
3 through 6.
Yeah, I went.
That's locked in. That's in the mentals right now.
Man, you gotta go.
What you want for that?
All right, so we in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17. We're gonna start it at 4.
Okay.
Let's read it. Let's see what he thinks. Let's see how important our children is. Come on.
Proverbs chapter 17, verse 4. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue.
Come on.
Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamity shall not be unpunished.
Read this slow and read this loud.
Children's children.
Children's children. Come on.
Or the crown of old men.
Y'all see that? So these the crown of old man. This is how we really move into our kingship. That's why, like, I can't wait till I get to the age. Well, I can't wait, but I will love to see the age where I have grandbabies. Right. You know what I'm saying? I done seen my seeds have seeds. I'm wealthy. I'm rich at this point. Come on.
Children's children are the crowns of old men.
Right.
And the glory of children or their fathers.
Ooh, all praises. All right, so now it's starting to make sense. So now when we get into Genesis 2 and 18, y'all will see why this construct was made. And this is what really blows the lesson open. Let's go to Genesis 18, and then we're gonna look at some things before I get into the rest of the stuff, because I wanted y'all to see something. Genesis 2 and 18.
And just to land back on what he said earlier, as far as like the older men and the one of like younger women, is with people who raise dogs or whatnot, they got that stud, which is the one, and it makes with all the dogs in the yard, but they always bring the younger female dogs up to the stud for their first heat.
Yeah.
Bring that dog up to that stud that's in the yard, and he's the older dog that's in the yard. Even though it's other male pit bulls that's in the yard with it, it's this older one that mates with all the female dogs in there, especially the younger dogs.
And the reason why being, if you look at it physically wise, you know what I'm saying, the younger the woman is, and of course not on no pedophile age and nothing like that, but her hips start expanding, her whole placenta, her whole cervix have a lot of genetic code in there that's new and fresh. The older the man gets, his testosterone actually gets better and his semens get more stronger. It's not when we young, it's when we get older, when we mature. You see what I'm saying? Women mature earlier than men. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all know that or not, but they do. That's why you will see a younger woman start forming breasts and stuff like that before a man get rid of them fat parts up under his armpit. Y'all know the little fat baby part, or before he start getting hair on his chin.
That's right. That's why Abraham told Abraham.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's why, Abraham, Dr. Sabi. Dr. Sabi out here straight, you know what I'm saying? Having children at an old age, and he had all young wives. 83, he popping children. So you see what I'm saying? So men literally increase in value when the older they get. Women will depreciate in value if they're not a Proverbs 31 woman. Period. I'm just gonna keep it real. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's good that y'all truly, the women take hold of that Proverbs 31 and embody that.
That's right.
Because you would keep them characteristics in your old age, and then you become big mama because you're starting to teach the other young ladies the same thing. The only thing you're supposed to be teaching your daughter is truly getting ready to be submissive to her man as on to the Lord. That is what she was created for. But we finna read it. Come on. And these are the constructs that we need to be teaching our children. You know what I'm saying? Period. Come on. Genesis 2 and 18.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18.
YAH'KI, you crazy.
Genesis 2 and 18. And the Most High Elohim power said, it is not good that the man should be alone.
See that? It wasn't good for man to be alone. Now, if it's not good for man to be alone, and then we see a woe man produced from that means women were solely created for the purpose of the man, period. There's nothing else outside of that, unless you believe in another theology or something. But according to this biblical culture construct, that is the sole purpose of the creation of the woman, was to please and help her man, to be assistance to her man. But what is she assisting him with? Going forth, being fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the whole entire earth, and to subdue it.
job.
Powerful, very powerful job. Come on.
I will make him and help me for him. And out of the ground, Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field,
right?
Every fowl of the earth, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Right.
And Adam gave name to all cattle and to the fowl of the earth and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found and helped me for him.
You see that? So it's so deep. He looking around. He's seeing all these family structures go forth. He's seeing people reproducing and populating. Adam like, dang, where mine at? Right. And then that's when he get put to sleep and all of that happened. Now from this came children. All right. Whenever you get a man and a woman together and the environment look conducive and it look good, baby's gonna be being made. So now what I want to get into is showing the reason why we truly have to separate ourselves and come from amongst this heathen is because we are genetically differently, whether it's cellularly, whether it's tissually, whether it's mentally, emotionally. So we have to be taught our culture, and that's the only way we can get back and take our kingdom back. Again, the only thing we supposed to be teaching our children is how to be revolutionaries. That's it. What else are we teaching them? Anything else you teaching them is to go with the system, is to go with the enemy, to go along with the heathen. Shalom, shalom, sisters. All right, so look, check this out. Let's get to it. So look, I want to show y'all, if y'all got your phones, look it up, because I'm going to pull up a presentation. Matter of fact, before we pull up the presentation, let's get into Dr. Jensen, man. All right, so Dr. Jensen is a doctor, right? And this doctor, he went out throughout his whole entire life. This is a whole article on it. I posted in the thing. He went throughout his whole life teaching everybody that the white man was superior to every other race on the planet. Well, what he did was he went on an escapade and he went to Africa and he started studying certain specific type of groups in South Africa and Zimbabwe and Ghana and Libya and stuff like that. And he started studying them and studying their brains and studying them to European children. And it blew his mind how intellectual they was and how smarter they was. But look, let me show y'all how I know what I'm talking about is right. They failed in IQs. They IQs and they testings as the black was horrible results. But everything else was much higher than the so-called white man. Why is that? Showing you that this school system was not created for our intellect. Now check this out. So it says a 30-year of research on race differences and cognitive abilities. All right? Talking about the abilities from the mind and how the mind tells the body to move around in reality. I'm going to let y'all read. It says the culture only 0%. I'm going to let y'all read that on your own because we're going to put it in the thing. I want to show y'all the charts. This is his research, not mine. Now check out these charts. Let's go to the first chart. It gets deep. Now remember, he came from the whole standpoint that they race was superior. Right. Watch this. Let's go to the first chart. It's a whole lot to read there. That's why I'm not going through all that. So it shows you their IQ was higher than ours when it comes to their European tests. That's why you should never test a black man according to the European standardized testing. He's gonna always fail unless he done totally embarked his whole mindset into the European construct. That's the only way he can pass. If he study, they bull crap. Then he passed because he know how to memorize it. But is that really teaching him? Is that able to involve him emotionally and spiritually? No, it's not. Because it's not for him. It's not for his genetic makeup at all. Now check this out. This says race differences in cognitive abilities. Now we see that the non-Africans are the ones with the spaces, right? The non-Africans are the ones with the spaces. The Africans is the ones with the dots and the ones with the long dark space. Now look at this. It gives you the grade average of their difference. Look at ours. Ours is higher than theirs. Look at our dots. We got dots is up here at 84. You see what I'm saying? So this just shows you how smarter we are than them as intellectual people. Now, the thing with them, though, is if they test us according to their standards, we will always fail. Always. Why is that? Because they are creating their school systems to keep us oppressed. And they're creating their children to go to school to keep them in reign and to keep them subduing over us. So even if you have a so-called Negro child and a so-called white child go to school, there is a difference in teaching. Even though the teaching will sound the same, Just because we experience reality different and we experience being slave here on this earth and they experience being leaders here on this earth, even if the teaching's the same, guess what they gonna get taught? They gonna get taught to lead more and we gonna get taught to be slaves more. Y'all see what I'm saying? That's the psychological processing and how they set up the school system. So they don't never have to teach you indirectly or directly. Whatever they teaching, it can be the same thing to the so-called Caucasian and the same thing to the so-called Negro. But both of y'all are going to have different experience and perspective from them because you came from slaves. He came from slave masters. So imagine a all-black, so-called black school that only teaches about the uprising of black history. Don't even talk about the slave mentality. Only tap in on when we was kings and queens. Only tap in when we was gods. Only tap in on Abraham and all of his accomplishments and Ruth, all of her accomplishments. Only tap in to war, like how he trained up 300 soldiers and trained men and went and got his nephew, didn't leave his brother behind and killed the other nations for kidnapping his people. What happened if we just taught that when it comes to history, or we taught mathematics when it comes to African mathematics? And I don't mean by African as in Hamites, but I mean it's a whole different type of mathematics in that continent. Y'all know that, right? You see that? So even though 2 + 2 = 4 on every place of this earth, it ain't gonna say 2 + 2 = 4 over there. That deal might say 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4, but it's gonna be from a so-called Negro perspective and not from a Europeanized perspective, because the European done weaponized their education towards us. Notice that they only talk about post-slavery. Y'all came over here on boats, whoop-de-whoop, and that was that. Then they teach that the Indians are a different people. The Indians was us. A lot of us never even left. A lot of us is already here. So just imagine if the true history of true math, if the true things from an African perspective was taught to us, a so-called African perspective, we will perceive reality totally different than what we do now. And I guarantee you, when none of us be down here with none of our clothes on that we got on now, half of it be made by our wives at home, or we will be shopping black. We'll be going and we'll be Googling and making sure. We'll go a day without eating. If we weren't producing the food, we would so be deeply rooted into our culture, we will fast a day just to wait till another so-called Negro who produce food come around for we can eat. And you know what's crazy? That's what they do. And that's what they're taught. But from their teachings, they get taught that. But from the same teaching, we get taught not to do that. But it's the same exact teaching, showing you that our perspectives and the environment that we've been put in it makes us look at information differently. Y'all get me?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right.
No doubt.
Let's keep it going. That was one chart. Let's go to another chart. And make sure y'all
basically introduce us to that which is foreign.
Yeah, yeah.
That is not conducive for us.
Not conducive for us.
Naturally, you know what I'm saying? On a spiritual level, we'll never be able to grasp it.
Oh, we never see that?
Yeah.
You just say that again, bro. You took the words out. You said it better.
I'm just saying, like, you know, on a
You
spiritual
did.
level, we'll never be able to grasp what it is, but we've been introduced into something that's foreign to us.
Yeah.
A construct that was never meant for us.
Never.
You know what I mean? So.
And notice how they create the schools and they create jobs and they create your jobs in its cubicles. You sit in cubicles and you sit furthest away from the window as possible. Then they created with brick and mortar to keep the sun rays out for feeding your melanin. It's all a construct. They are at war. Truly, they're at war against our blackness, y'all, or our brownness, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? They are at war against this God particle that he has in us, because this God particle unlocks our DNA. And we're going to show it. We're going to show it through science.
Even today, though, you know what I'm saying, for us that are in the culture or whatever, we tend to be happy when our children graduate from
What I was just, and look, I opened up my lesson with that. We are Hebrews, still a part of the European construct. We still celebrating. We still happy. We're not, see, and that's why I said it's not good enough just to keep the 10 Commandments and to follow the feast days. It's way deeper than that. You can keep the 10 Commandments in Babylon. You see what I'm saying? We have to leave from Babylon mentally. We have to bring our whole construct, because a lot of people be having graduation parties. What is so good that, look, do you realize in order to graduate, that means you had to give into their system? That means you're thinking more as a European than an Israelite. You didn't went through 12 grades of learning nothing but Hebrew slavery. And you graduate from that and you want milk and cookies for that? That just made you more of a European byproduct. Do y'all get that? So why are we celebrating that? And then you go and you straight do some masonry stuff and you put your tassel on the corner of 360 degrees and then you move it to, man, all of that stuff is straight demonic, bro. It is. And it's taught by their demonic education system.
Over there with the Kepha Hermes.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's right, Sam. You are Hellenized. But no, that's a good fact you brought out, y'all. That's what I brought out earlier.
Yeah, but even now, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that there's some people that heard this or whatever or not. But there's an excuse, you know what I'm saying, to be like, well, because we're here. You know, there's always be a freaking
excuse for the heathen. Because, but remember, this has been taught to us psychological warfare. We feel like that we're not valid, or we feel like we don't exist unless we're approved by the heathen, by their education. Notice, if you come and talk to me, I am a very intelligent young man. I'm gonna say that, and I know what I'm talking about. But if another black brother the same as me come with a suit and tie on and come with a degree from Harvard, a white man's degree, a piece of paperwork that they signed off on, you would totally not listen to nothing I'm saying, and you would listen to him. And his message will be totally wrong, showing you that we have been psychologically prepped to actually listen and to aid and obey their doctrine. That's for real. I mean, literally, we don't even feel like we nothing until we get the piece of paperwork with their name on it. We don't even feel like we worth anything. It's like, okay, why did I have to go to school to be? I could have been an herbalist without that. I knew all the herbs. I just went to school to get the paperwork, literally. That way, when I talk, people can listen to me because they say I'm certified. I didn't need that. I knew more. I was taught more by myself, unlocking my DNA, reading the Bible, than I was taught going through all them certifications. But I just had to get the certification because a Negro is not going to listen to a Negro that ain't got a white man paperwork. And that's showing you how mentally enslaved we are. Why we can't create our own paperwork? Yeah, straight up. Now look, check this out. So look, this is talking about their IQ scores, right? When you look at it, it's telling you simple size. Now, when you look at the IQ scores and you get to the so-called Negroes, his is the lowest when it comes to testing. But when you look at his choice reaction time, his is the highest. When you look at his odd man out reaction time, his is the highest. When you look at his simple reaction time, his is the highest. So when you look at the thinking faculty of the black man, he is higher in IQ than anything. But why is it a test? Everything he's high in, except when it comes to the test scores. What is that showing you? It's showing you it's they test. We gonna always fail it. Always. Because it's not made for us. It's not made for us. And it's just stuff like that y'all got to study to start seeing how this diabolical plot on us is to keep us oppressed and suppressed and away from our God. So
look, you look at that, your enemy can manipulate it and use we talking about patches of war, right?
Yeah.
They can launch a propaganda battle on war.
Yeah.
And say, look, here's the test right here.
Yeah, you're gonna right.
You know, right. The Negro was in
Look at the test. And it's all lies, man.
But because they control the propaganda machine, right? They control what it gets fed.
Yeah.
And they got tests that say the Negro actually is the lowest. I know. It's cute you all found out you were Hebrew, but
y'all are dumber than us.
You're still the lowest.
So we finna dig into DNA research right now and shows that is far from different. According to DNA, we are straight gods from another planet. We're not even from Earth. Like, hey, and the scripture straight tell us that we pilgrims here on Earth. We will be strangers in the land. Go ahead, brother.
I just trip off of Marvel and content and all that. I know it's make believe, but the trip off is almost like paying no mind. You know, y'all got the internet.
Yeah.
Because the white dude was like, "Oh, I couldn't figure this out," and the young sister was like, "Man, we went."
Yeah. She said we eons past that. We've been working with nanotechnology for centuries. What are you talking about? Straight up, you sure right, Deuel. Now check this out. All right, you want to read this, brother? This talking about DNA. So what I want to talk about is how our DNA is truly, truly different from theirs. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. That's what it's an acid chain, and it's a peptide chain. On each of these chains, I have a genetic code in there, and these genetic codes are instructions that was given by your creator. They still don't know how DNA been passed down. Only thing they can go is they say, we know DNA was passed down from the grandfathers, then their grandfather, and his father, and then he had a father that had a father that had a father. But when you go back to the beginning, and so-called humanoids don't exist, that the question is, where did he get his DNA from? And we found it. I got the paperwork on it. It came from outer space. And it says that we are prokaryotic cells. All other nations are eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells did not originate from Earth. You see that? They physicality did, their bodies did, but the intellect that was breathed into his nostrils come from the heavens. And we can go look at Genesis chapter 2 that backs that up.
It sounds like you read the Bible.
Straight up. So let's read it.
It says the instructions within the DNA of a single cell. It says if written out would fill 1,600-page book.
So every cell have a DNA strand inside of you. And each DNA strand have enough information in there to fill 1,600-page books. That's how much information and biological history that and that's how look, you have so much biological history stored in your DNA. That's how you can just boom and know something one day without studying it or reading it, or to look over the Hebrew language and know the whole language and the whole alphabet the next day, because it's already in your DNA. Now, what happens is the scientists know this, so they have to create a prison system and call it a school to keep your junk DNA suppressed. Because they know if you get taught the right things, it'll turn on something called cellular genetic memory, where you'll start memorizing all the stuff that was passed down through your DNA. Then you'll be able to say, yeah, dang, before I came here, I came from planet Zebaru, planet Newton, and then I came into my mother's womb to experience Earth. You see what I'm saying? And that's why when you get into that 2 Peter, it says he was trying to stir up your pure minds by way of what? Remembrance. Right. And what was his remembrance? He was talking about that the heavens were of old. That you were way older than creation. Because you was chosen for before the foundation of the world. He knew you, anointed you, and fashioned you as a prophet in your mother's womb. He knew David and his secret parts before even forming him in the belly. What is they talking about here? They was tapping in. They was meditating and praying and tapping into their DNA. And we can do the same thing. Now check this out. Let's keep reading. Somebody had a question. Oh, okay, go ahead.
So each cell is a world brimming with as many as 200 trillion tiny groups of atoms called molecules.
Do y'all hear this? Each cell, you have over 150 trillion cells in your body, so-called black man, black woman. These heathens only have 50. They only have 50. The highest they can get is 50 trillion cells. The so-called black man have over 150 trillion cells. We're going to get into the reason why too. Come on.
Our 46 chromosomes, threads linked together, would measure more than 6 feet. Yet the cell nucleus that contains them is less than 4/10,000 of an inch in diameter.
You see that? Meaning that if we take out all the information and all the biological history inside of each cell and we put it in a chain, it'll be able to wrap the earth twice. That's how much information you have in you. We are not only 6,000 years old. That's new creation. The so-called Negro man, before he was labeled a Hebrew, has been here for trions, man. We come from the heavens, y'all. We are literally ancient beings. I had to make up a word because that's how old we are. See, everybody just want to go up to Adam and Eve. It was a world before then. And guess what color they was according to the book? They black like us. They got copper skin and hair of wool just like us. Especially if you get into the pseudepigraphers. It talk about how the Melachim and HaShemayim look. They look like me and you. Operation Hot Jump, Operation White Sand, Operation Paperclip, Roswell findings when 9-foot black human beings with locks got out saying they came back to redeem their people. 9-foot black man jumped off an aircraft that came from planet Ziggurat.
And then the interview was saying, oh, so you're saying they were, they were brown skin.
Yeah, they were brown skin.
Like, no, black.
He said, yeah, he's there. Because I was like, oh, so you saying he was a fair brown skin? They were fair. He said, no, there were black human beings that jumped off a spaceship.
I seen that.
You seen that?
He just trying to water down how dark the beings were. He's like, there's not. No.
Yeah,
they're not.
Very, very dark.
And very tall.
Yeah.
With locks. Yeah, that's where they do. That's where they get the predator from. Yeah. Now check this out.
Oh my
All right, so this says, what is DNA? Is y'all looking at this? Look out, get on your phones and look this up. This says, what is DNA? All right, you want to read it?
Yeah, it said, what is DNA? How you say that word?
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
A self-replicating material.
You see that? Oh yeah, I gotta pull that up. I don't put up on email. Send it to the email. I'm pull up the email.
It says it is a self-replicating material which is present in nearly all living organisms as the main
constituent
of chromosome.
Right.
It is a carrier of genetic information.
So DNA is the carrier of what, y'all?
Genetic information.
See that? All of your information on how many children you gonna ever have, how high your intellect can get. All of this is already inside of you. So that's why I was saying we be trying to teach our children together. They are differently because they have genetic information that's differently encoded in them that come from the same source. So he will never be able to learn like her, or she will never be able to learn like him. They will only be able to evolve and learn according to who they are themselves. We have to quit dealing with our babies like they just infant babies. No, they have infant bodies. These are forever souls that don't have an age on them that just took on a mortal body. So let's quit. And the worst thing you can do is do ooh gaga to a baby. You realize he understands you, right? The baby understands you. The baby already have intellectual properties and intelligence while I was in the womb. Y'all see that? And he already reacting to the environment like that. That's why I was talking about in the last lesson that the mother have to be in a place of unity, a place of peace while the baby is inside of the womb, because the baby is taking on that environment through chemicals that the mother is taking on and through how the way her DNA break down her environment. These chemicals break down into food and the baby is fed intellectually from these things. And that's why I kept bringing up crack babies. The baby was inside the womb and you kept taking another chemical and the baby came out looking physically different because of what you took while you was in the womb. Now, just imagine the psychic environment around that deal too. Because look, it's deep, y'all. So we see that each baby have its own genetic information. Come on.
It makes sense of what you're saying. Cause like when you was part of the world, like our grandmas used to always say when you have a baby, like, man, that baby been here before.
Yeah, that baby been here before. Yeah.
Continue again. It says, it is a carrier of genetic information. Instructions used for growth, development, function.
Hold on. What is this lesson called? Growth and development of the so-called Negro child. It says DNA is used for what?
Growth and development.
Instructions, growth and development. Come on.
Functioning and reproduction.
All this is based on your DNA in your cells. Come on.
It says if you took the DNA from all the cells in your body and line it up end to end, it will form a strand 6,000 million miles long.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's how, look, that's how old you are. Do you realize the heathen don't have this much DNA in him? We gonna study the heathen on the next lesson and pull up his DNA. It's mixed with all types of stuff that ain't human. I'm telling you, facts.
But it will be very, very thin. Just to store this important material, DNA molecules are tightly packed around amino acid compounds, which are proteins,
right?
Called histons to make structure called chromosome.
All right, let's keep going. Hold on. It gets deeper. It gets deeper. Now we're finna start getting into what it is. All right. Let's pass all this up. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get back to some scriptures. All right, let's get to this right here. So the whole reason why I brought this up, because inside of your DNA, you have something called melanin or carbon. There's no difference between melanin and carbon or sugar. It's all the same thing. That's why I say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, because we are made of sugar. We are really the sugar and the salt of the earth. So it says chemical or comet coal. All right, a coal is something that you put on your barbecue pit. Notice it's black. It's like a black chalk. All right, comet just means to be black. So whenever you read the word chemical, it means the study of a black man or the study of a Negro, so-called Negro. So whenever you hear the word chemical, it comes from the Egyptian word comet coal. Coal is a charcoal that you put on your barbecue grill to fire up your food. And then comet just means to be black or black man or black land. So literally chemical means the study of the biology of the black man, period. All right. It says the key of life. It says the only molecule that condenses sunlight, that abstract material substances, It says that synchronizes your etheric and physical body to the universe, and it's called the cosmic conscious. Now check out how this breaks down. All right, you got the cosmic melanin, which is made of gases and substance and nitrous oxide and carbon oxide. That's why when it get dark outside and you look up, you see all them stars, all them lights, but what's between all them lights is this thick blackness. That's what you are made out of, because you are literally, you come from the heavens, bro. Then you have something called human melanin. Human melanin. Only the people that have this melanin are humans. If you ain't got this melanin, by their own laws, by European scientists, if you don't have this melanin in you, you're not considered a human. All right, so by their own laws, they're not human beings. It says neuromelanin or eumelanin. It says made of millions of fractal crystals called magnetites that forms 12 clusters in the brain. And this is where you hear 12 disciples and the 12-step program and the passage way of 12. It's the 12 sons of Jacob, the 12 zodiac signs. All this is even though the 12 disciples are actually here, something called parallel universes or parallel realities, meaning whatever happened down here have to be happening in the heavens. Well, according to your anatomy of your body, your heavens is everything that's above your neck. So inside the heavens, you have your own 12, and they call 12 melanin clusters on your brain. It says eumelanin is a liquid melanin that makes up a great percentage of your hemoglobin. Notice all of us are anemic. Huh? Why so all black people are anemic, or only black people get sickle cell anemia? Because they are biologically messing with our melanin that's inside of our cells through GMO foods, through television programs, sitting in front of the TV all day, having your laptop on your lap at a lot of times, on these cell phones. You see what I'm saying? All of this is to destroy us and to keep us dumbed down, right? So hemoglobin, blood plasma, and it's responsible for skin color. Now, if you look, all of these, all right, now plants got chlorophyll melanin, even animals have melanin called pheomelanin. And when you get to the so-called Caucasians, they only have melanin produced in their hair follicles and skin. And literally it's called ammonia melanin. They don't have melanin. Even though they have a pigmentation, if you look inside of their melanin, the actual substance inside there is very, very destructive. And if it get hot and get wet, it smells like pneumonia. That's where you get that word that they smell like wet dogs from. Because the moment heat and water hit it, it changes the chemical structure of their melanin. You know what I'm saying? So if you even get into them, like once you truly start studying them, you really start seeing what's going on here. Now, if you keep studying the black man and the child, this is a sperm cell of a black man. And notice inside of that sperm cell, the head of it have a melanin particle called the nucleus, right? This have intellect. So the intellect is not only in the woman's womb, your children already have intellect while they're inside of your testicles. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, look at the sperm cell. Inside the sperm cell, this sperm cell have a brain. The head of the sperm cell mature and becomes the brain, or what you call the central nervous system. The tail of the sperm cell actually shrivels up, become hard, and becomes the vertebrae, or what you call the spinal column. So you have a full human already inside your testicles. What you need the woman for is the vehicle. I'm just saying, that's deep, bro. So if this, look, the baby already got a brain while it's in your testicles, bro. That's why. Hey, that's why you have to gird your loins up with what? Truth. Because you teaching your children before you even have sex. You are, whatever you break down and whatever you download from your environment, you giving it to your sperm cells. Hey, I don't know. That's deep to me. What's up, bro? Yeah.
Football, you wear equipment, but basketball, the only thing that you ever protect.
Yep, straight up. Now, notice that in every sport, you have to wear a cup.
Check your jewels.
Yeah, you better. You better. All right, let's keep it going. Protect the jewels. All right, I wanted to show y'all one more thing, and then we're going to get back to the scripture. I just wanted to show y'all some stuff today, man. We got to know this stuff.
And I saw a video probably like a week ago.
Yeah.
You know how they be interviewing people on the streets or whatnot? So it was a white woman. She had walked past the dude and he interviewed her. He said, do you want children with white men or black men, and why? She said, I only want children with black men. And he said, why? She said, so my children can live longer. Like, dang.
Yeah, what's that? Sirach chapter 25. Where it says that brief trust in your goods, the continence of your good stock.
Joy in your children is in there.
What?
Follow your enemies.
Anybody got that Bible on them?
Yeah, I got
it's Sirach. I'm pretty sure it's in 25. It's towards the end. It says, for you can have basically confidence in your good descent. Yeah. So look, this is another thing I want to show y'all. We're gonna get back to I don't know where we at. All right, so check this out, y'all. This deep too. There's some deep stuff right here as well. Now this shows y'all. It says, want to read that?
It says
the anatomical
differences between races.
Now this show y'all that we are straight different, y'all. Look this stuff up. Read that. What that say?
It said biological differences exist in the body composition of blacks and whites. We review literature on the differences and similarities between the two races relative to fat-free body mass, water, minerals, and amino acids.
Y'all see that? So our protein structure is different from other races. Our water intake is different from other races, and our electrolytes is different from other races. Come on.
Fat patterns and body dimensions and proportions. In general, blacks have a great bone mineral density and body protein content than do whites.
So we are physically stronger than them, period. Physically and mentally. We're going to read all this. So it shows you it had to be, it's a spirit that have to have you straight suppressed like that because we outnumber them and we are physically stronger than them. We are mentally stronger than them. Why are we still in mental slavery then? Show you it's a diabolical spirit over us. Come on.
Resulting in a greater fat-free body density.
See that? So they're prone to getting fatter than us. They get fat quick. Come on.
Additionally, there are racial differences in the description of substances, fat, and the length of the limbs relative to the trunk.
So meaning our body distribute our fats and our soluble fats and our minerals way better than theirs. Come on.
The possibility that these differences are a result of ethnicity rather than of race is also examined because most equations that predict relative body fat were derived from
predominantly
white samples. Biologically, variations between the races and these body compositions and indexes have practical significance.
See that? So we are way different from any other body out here, especially them. Now check this out. When you straight get down to this, it shows you the bone structures of Asians, of Africans, or so-called Africans, and of Europeans. And man, you get deep into the research, it shows you how they actually came from cave-like structures due to the environment they was put in. It shows you how their lungs was developed different because they was higher in the air and they had to breathe in air. And then it gets down into their DNA, man. And look, they have over 93% rhesus monkey DNA inside of their DNA. Over 93% of rhesus monkey inside of their DNA. So like when you actually even get into the DNA of them, you know what I'm saying, man, they are totally different. So I wanted to show y'all that. All right, let's get back to the lesson. All right, so with that being said, since we know that we different, I want to read that Sirach. Yeah, read that Sirach real quick.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 26, start at verse 20. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed.
See that? So the scripture tells us when we get a fruitful possession, fruitful is a woman that know how to bear children. It says that you got to sow the field with your own seed. The field would be her body. Your seed is what's coming from your testicles. Come on.
Trusting in the goodness of thy stock.
You see that? You got to trust in and have confidence in your own stock. Right. Remember that. Look, we're not even supposed to be sleeping outside of our tribes, y'all, let alone outside of the race. And the reason, but look, all of this was a plot by them. They started this in-house in slavery. And we're going to get to that too. Come on.
Verse 21, so thy race which thou leavest.
So this is how you know he was talking about ethnicity, because he said, because thy race that thou leavest, come on,
shall be magnified.
Shall be what?
Magnified.
Ooh.
Having the confidence of their good descent.
There it is right there. So look, with that being said, since we know that we're different through our DNA, through our melanin, we know that we different intellectually wise. We know we different through brain matter. We different through the way we view reality. now it's time to start teaching them different. And then what shows you how to teach them and give you all the blueprints is the Bible. Let's go to Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54, we're going to start it at 10. I know this stuff be a lot for some people, especially for some people that just been in the system for so long.
I mean, you know what you basically said.
Yeah.
What are we doing learning from those, feel me, who are not just our oppressors, but according to the scriptures say are reputed as nothing?
Yeah.
Spittle.
Yeah. Isaiah chapter 40 and 17.
You know what I'm saying? And in that second, that's man, spittle.
Yeah.
They have what the brother say. He said, and most high these heathens who have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us.
Yes.
How did this happen?
Straight up.
Dang.
All right, check this out. So this Isaiah 54 and 10. Start off at 10.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse 10. For the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, said the Lord that have mercy on thee.
Right.
O thou afflicted, tossed with tempests, and not comforted. Behold, I will lay thy stones with fir colors, and lay thy foundations with sapphire.
Come on.
And I will make the windows of the agates, and the gates of corbels, and all thy borders of pleasant stones.
Check this out. And what it say?
And all thy children.
And who?
And all thy children.
Come on.
Shall be taught of the Lord.
See that? That's supposed to be our main curriculum right there. Yahweh. And then we can break that down into many things. You can do mathematics with his name. You can do spelling with his name. You can do all types of things with his name. Come on.
And great shall be the peace of thy children.
Come on.
And righteousness shall thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, but thou shalt not fear, and from terror, but it shall not come near thee.
Now, people, I want y'all to see something. When you take back your culture, you take back this construct, it says, in the children, once you teach the children of Yahweh, it says, this bring great peace to them. Not only after that, in righteousness shall thou be established. Now you're being established. You're producing things. It says, and thou shalt be far from what? Oppression. So what's going to bring us out of oppression? Teaching our children and training and raising them up the right way. And this is talking about the kingdom. This is bringing in millennium reign and showing you the construct and how Christ is coming back and what he's going to do when YAH'KI come back and do this same construct. So we got it. My thing is, why are we not implementing it now? Why are we not doing it now? Because when he come back, he coming with a sword. He coming for war. The first thing he gonna do is teach you your language. He gonna train up with 144,000 on how to fight. Look, he's bringing the kingdom to earth. We're gonna have a place that we in where the wicked can't get inside. Meaning we're gonna have our own land, and it's gonna have protective borders around it. So the way the kingdom is even coming to earth, we need to be practicing and rehearsing that right now. The only way we can do that is by mentally separating ourselves from our enemies. Instead of being in bed with them and playing around with them like we do. Like we do. Again, I got a graduation party to go to, Hebrew. Shalom. Like, hold on. How you just say all this Hebrew culture stuff, but on the same tongue, you got a European educational graduation going on, and you're actually proud of your daughter and of your son that they went 12 years learning the heathen way. All praise. You like, huh? Make it make sense, brother. That should be a laughing stock. Right, 12 years a slave. You see that? And do y'all realize that equivalent? I got a book that called The Growth and Development of the Black, what is it called? Of the Black Child by Amos Wilson. And inside that book, they got database. Do y'all realize by the time the children is 12, they had already surpassed a European graduate that went to college in Africa. In Zimbabwe, by the time they 12, they done passed them in curriculum and in mathematics and reading and all of that. So a 12-year-old Israelite boy still in the homeland is already at a 12th grader that's 17 years old that is on stage graduating because the environment that he's put in. And because they don't have Europeans all in their business. Well, now they do. The Europeans over there now giving them Jewish caps and Kephas, giving them Jewish curriculum and giving them the oral tradition. So they finally been invaded now. But before they was invaded, man, they was super smart. But, you know, the European have to put his hands on everything. Everybody got to drink of their cup. So they over there in Libya, they over there in Zimbabwe and Ghana and all in Ethiopia now, converting all of them that already knew that they was Hebrews. They converting them to Judaism right now as we speak. They going, right now. So they have to get their hands in somewhere.
Should be taught in the Most High.
Yeah, can. Yep. Let's get Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13, 22 to 24.
And the thing, what you're saying is deep, bro, because the thing, right, I think a lot of times our people be happy when our children graduate, right? But see, you got to look at the flip side because we talk about condition.
Yeah.
Right? So many of us die in the streets early. You know what I'm saying? Our mamas and our grandmamas, I'm happy that, okay, well, my boy didn't die in the streets. Right. He's graduating, you know what I mean? But since there's so many, there's a multiplicity of illusions that we fighting at one time.
The edge of it's a different edge of the same sword, big bro.
Yeah, you feel me? It's hard for people to be like, well, dang, that shit, going to school evil for them, but I mean,
I'd rather him go to school to get killed.
In the streets in a drug transaction or a gang war.
But he still died though. He died mentally, educational wise. It's a different edge of the same sword. And that's why the only way, and that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, the only way to get rid of this system is to revolutionize. Look, it's going to take war, y'all. I mean, let's just keep it real. This is going to be the only way. If you're not teaching your children to be rebellious and to buck against this system, then you're teaching them how to be a part of the system. Period. You're either teaching them to be totally against it and to become an enemy of the state, or you teaching them to be with the state. And look, what's going to come with that death? A lot of us is going to die rebelling. I mean, just keep it real. Persecution of the saints. It's all in scripture. Do y'all realize the Bible is a revolutionary book, right? This book ain't about getting along with heathens. It don't say that nowhere in there. It's talking about rebellion and bucking against the system. That's all I've ever read. And Christ was the main example of that. And what happened to him? He got crucified and killed. So what we think this is going to be an easy walk. It's going to be a lot more Malcolm X getting shot up by infiltrating Negroes. It's going to be a lot of more Martin Luther Kings getting shot down on their balconies. It's going to be a lot more. Look, anybody that come and raise up against the system until Yahweh come back and he do the political assassinations that he need to do, a lot of us going to be dying. But guess what? That we're going to be leaving back in our DNA though. It's not about what we doing while we here on earth and trying to stay alive. It's about, well, it is about that. But what I'm saying is the more rebellious and the more organized we become, we start to teach our DNA. And then when we have children, that DNA come down fresh into our babies. So now we're raising a whole nation of rebellions against the system. That's hard, bro. Why we not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, that Negro died, but his children though. That's what we need to be hearing, man. It's like the scripture said that you read. If you teach them and you install them right, even though you gone, it's not like you even dead because they're carrying on your legacy and your name. Right. Bro, it's time to be extremists. I mean, they put it on us anyway, didn't they, Maccabee? We need to live up to the name. We extremists now. We might well live up to it because that's what it's going to take to get our freedom back. And I'm not talking about no Juneteenth. Flat out, that's not freedom.
Show 19.
So that's some real rebel rousers.
Yeah, we're real rebel rousers. What you said, Deuel?
Yeah, I was just thinking about something about the internet, and I was part of DC, but out there at the county school, and I remember we talked with the children, and I still saw it later on, the standard for their child, like when their child starts to walk and talk, that was like at the age of 2.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. But our children are doing that before they even 1 year.
Our children. So look, and that's what so it's a book called The Magical Child by James Pierce. And what James Pierce did is he went over to Africa and Uganda and all of that, man. And it was children coming out of the womb that already knew their mama and father name and speaking. Man, it's called the Magical Child. Buy that book. It's on Amazon for $16.49. Bruh, him and it was another dude, I forgot his name. Man, they over there studying these children. It blew they mind frame. And then Mally brought out the scripture last week that it lines up with scripture where children were coming out of the womb, tumbling, walking, seeing. Melchizedek was a priest, son of yeah, let's read that real quick, bro. Let's read that real quick. Yeah, let's read that real fast.
What y'all mean?
Yeah, Cain came out of the womb tumbling, doing backflips, remember? So this is not far-fetched this not far-fetched that our children, that these so-called African children, these Israelite children are coming out with full awareness, knowing their father's name, knowing their mother's name, and can have a full conversation with you and know how to dance to music. Pull up that scripture where John was dancing in the womb of his mother when Christ came by. So we see intellectual intelligence is already inside of these babies, but we just proved that nucleus inside of your sperm head, the baby already have intellect wise in your nutsack. Let's keep it real. The baby already got intellect. That's why you have to be careful. You can't be drinking too much, because what they do, they sterilize you. You see what I'm saying? You can't be eating too many GMO foods, because what they do, they sterilize you. It's in prison systems. Half of that stuff you give you is for sterilization. That red Kool-Aid, they've been getting sued. St. Louis County was sued for like $83 million for giving all them black children inside of the county jail that Kool-Aid, because it was sterilizing them. Look, it's an attack against our melanin, because the melanin is what produces your sperm through a conversion of testosterone. You see what I'm saying? Through progestin, through your pituitary gland. So look, if I can attack you, then your children are automatically going to come out healthy if you can even produce them. Notice how most of the black men are becoming sterilized. Can't even have children. Don't know why. You know how many cases I treated that? People just can't have children, or women that can't produce eggs. And bro, that's because we've been attacked through germs, through food, through drinks, through everything to keep you from producing. I'm telling you, man, look, genetic information is real, bro. And they realize how to organize it and weaponize it on us. And that's what they're doing. So just because the heathen ain't got a gun to your face don't mean that he ain't trying to kill you. We think just because they ain't waving guns in our face that we safe. No, we not. And to be honest with you, if I know a heathen that was out here trying to kill me like that, I'm not finna eat his food. I most definitely ain't finna be drinking his water. I ain't finna be in his neighborhoods trying to live amongst them. We got that bad. As soon as we get cool, we want to move up out of the hood and move with them. Why don't you come back and build up your neighborhood and produce in your neighborhood?
Or marry one of them.
You see, or marry one of them. You see what I'm saying? Look, we have to look. This is psychological trauma here, y'all. We got to talk. Ain't nobody talking about it. We probably only Hebrews talking about this, man. We got to talk about this stuff because it's deep. It's deep.
You want that Luke 1?
Yeah, read that.
So Luke chapter 1, verse 41. And it came to pass that when Elizabeth heard the salutation of Mary, the babe leaped in her womb.
You see that? The babe in the womb leaping and dancing. That's intellectual intelligence in the womb. In the womb. Come on.
And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Ghost.
See that? And she was filled with the Holy Ghost. Or you see babies that never seen somebody dance, and you turn on music and they be 4 months and they get to moving. How do they know how to do that? Like, where is this intellectual intelligence coming from? It's in the DNA. And that's why they try to alter our DNA so much, because they know the royalty. And then you have something called the first people, or they call it the right to rule. And this is where the Rothschilds get their ideology from. They say since they were here first, I mean, of course they lied and hijacked us, but since they were here first, that they can have rule over all the natural resources. Rockefeller actually came out and made a statement and said that. He say, what he say, 500 years ago or something, God gave me the deeds to Israel, gave me the deeds to the land. Bro, like, how can you even make a statement like that when it was a people there before y'all? So we truly have the right to rule. And that's the reason why they keep us oppressed and suppressed, because the moment we start realizing, dang, we originated in the land where all the resources are naturally from and occurred from, then we're gonna start trying to go back home and take back over some things. And then again, it's gonna bring another war too. So I mean, look, this whole thing is gonna end in warfare, regardless. They have to.
Yeah, but Joe,
it have to. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, come on with it. Yeah. All right, you're gonna read that, Maccabee.
All right, y'all. Last week I was going into how the book was called The Herbal Child.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Yo. And Bruce was going in last week about the book The Miracle Child, right? And how baby was coming out the womb, talking already, fully developed and whatnot. You know what I mean? And it blew a lot of people's mind, right? So when he said that, I'm like, bro, that's actually in the second book of Enoch. Some people don't deal with Enoch. That ain't our problem. We're just gonna read it. Now, this has been around for a long time after Dead Sea Scrolls and all that, right? So for modern science to be saying it's possible for a child to come out miraculous, like speaking, you feel me? Speaking in full sentences and fully developed, When he said that, my bro, I done read this before. So y'all just bear with me a little second. This is the second book of Enoch, chapter 71. Read a few verses. It says, behold, the wife of Ner. Ner is N-I-R. Ner is Noah's brother. Okay. This is before the flood, all right? Behold, the wife of Ner, whose name was Sopanim, being sterile, and never having at any time given birth to a child by Ner. And Sopanim was in the time of her old age, and in the day of her death, she conceived in her womb. Mm. But Ner the priest had not slept with her, nor had he touched her, from the day that the Most High had appointed him to conduct the liturgy in front of the face of the people. That's sacrifices and all. He was a priest. Right. So during his priestly administration, he wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, touching his wife. That's what the liturgy is, his priestly duties. Right. All right. Next verse, it says, and when Sopanim saw her pregnancy, she was ashamed and embarrassed, and she hid herself during all the days until she gave birth. Mm. And not one of the people knew by it. And when 282 days had been completed, 282 days had been completed, and the day of birth had begun to approach, and Ner remembered his wife, and he called her to himself in his house so that he might converse with her. And Sopanim came to Ner, her husband, and behold, she was pregnant. And the day appointed for giving birth was drawing near. And Ner saw her, and he became very ashamed. And he said to her, what is this that you have done, O wife? And why have you disgraced me in front of the face of these people? And now depart from me and go where you began the disgrace of your womb, so that I might not defile my hand on account of you. So he thought that she done went behind his back and did something. Yeah. She pregnant and he ain't touched her. You know what I'm saying? So we got another one of those situations like HaMashiach Yahushua to come into the picture. Right? Come on. Right. It says, so that I might not defile my hand on account of you and sin in front of the face of the Most High. Right? In other words, he's going to say, I don't want to defile my hand and get physical. Yeah, I want to smack you around. So that's you pregnant? And I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Before I whoop on you, might want to depart our way. I might not defile my hand on account of you and sin in front of the face of the Most High. And Sopanim spoke to her husband, saying, oh, my master, behold, it is the time of my old age, and the day of my death has arrived. I do not understand how my menopause and the burdens of my womb have been reversed. And Ner did not believe his wife. And for the second time, he said to her, depart from me, or else I might assault you and commit a sin in front of the face of the Most High. And it came to pass when Ner had spoken to his wife Sopanim, that Sopanim fell down at Ner's feet, died. So look, she died. He's speaking he's speaking to her, and it hurt her so bad, because remember, she ain't went out and slept with nobody else, but it hurt her so bad she dropped dead. Show you words can kill. She dropped dead, right? Ner was extremely distressed, and he said in his heart, could this have happened because of my word? Since by word and thought, a person can sin in front of the face of the Most High. What we talking about last night. By word and thought, a person can sin in front of the face of the Most High. Right. Now may the Most High have mercy upon me. I know in truth in my heart that my hand was not upon her. And so I say, glory to you, O Most High, because no one among mankind knows about this deed which the Most High has done. And Ner hurried, and he shut the door of his house, and he went to Noah, his brother, and he reported to him everything that had happened in connection with his wife. And Noah hurried. He came with Ner, his brother. He came into Ner's house because of the death of Sopanim, and they discussed between themselves how her womb was at the time of giving birth. And Noah said to Ner, don't let yourself be sorrowful, Ner, my brother. The Most High today has covered up our scandal, and that nobody from the people knows this. Yeah, they're finna go bury her. They're gonna keep that to themselves. Now let us go quickly and let us bury her secretly. And the Most High will cover up the scandal of our shame. And they placed Sopanim on the bed, and they wrapped her around with black garments and shut her in the house prepared for a burial. They dug a grave in secret. And a child came out from the dead, Sopanim. And he sat on the bed at her side. So the child came out and set up. Like, dang, mama, you gone. It's straight up. But look, if you get into that Magical Child by John Pierce, and even Amos Wilson, he was saying the babies was sitting up.
not even 30 days, baby just sitting up, and they go in a room and they did mirror tests on the baby looking in the mirror and looking at itself like the baby had self-awareness. Not even 30 days, bro. Man, reading that stuff will blow your mind on how smart we truly is, but you got to change the environment. We keep giving our children these European environments, and they are growing like Europeans. But if you give them the Hebrew Israelite the environment they supposed to be in, and you put Yahweh in them, man, they are very advanced and very smart, man. They are truly aliens, aliens. They are part of the Most High, man, for real. We don't come from Earth, y'all. Our bodies do. It's a fact. Come on, bro.
And he sat on the bed at her side, and Noah and her came in to bury Sapanim, and they saw the child sitting beside the dead Sapanim and wiping his clothing.
He wiping, man. Look, the child is wiping his clothing, y'all.
About this. And Noah and her were very terrified with a great fear.
I bet.
Because the child was fully developed.
You see that?
Physically. Like a 3-year-old. And he spoke with his lips.
Y'all see that?
And he blessed the Most High. And Noah and her looked at him, and behold, the badge of priesthood was on his chest. And it was glorious in appearance. And Noah and her said, behold, the Most High is renewing the priesthood from blood related to us, just as he pleases. And Noah and her hurried, and they washed the child, and they dressed him in the garments of priesthood. And they gave him the holy bread, and he ate it. And they called his name Melchizedek.
You see that? So we see babies coming out and fully having conversations and all of that. So this is the last thing I want to show, and we're going to get up out of here. So I want to show that it's a difference between our cells and their cells. So they come from cells. Every other nation come from cells called a eukaryotic cells. If y'all pull y'all phones up and look at the lesson, these are the cells we come from. We come from cells, they're called prokaryotes. All right. A prokaryotic cell, that's where we come from. It's a single cell organism. All right, so you have a single cell organism that relies on the environment to produce cellular behavior. But then you have a eukaryotic cell that have all the organelles inside of it, meaning that it had to be genetically made and it already does what it needs to do. Showing you that these other nations with these cells are already organized to do what they need to do in life. That's why we can't get mad that they don't come over. We get mad that they want to murder us. They were hardwired that way by the Most High to actually manifest prophecy according to their genetic makeup. We're the only cells that can evolve and choose to grow, or that can devolve, because we're single cell organisms with a strand of DNA. So I want you to read this, bro. Now look, this is some deep stuff, y'all. It's moving kind of slow on me. How you blow it back up? Hold on, I'm messing up over here. All right, that'll work. So that's what your cell look like. We're gonna get into their cell too. Check that out. What that said,
prokaryotes. It says are all single cell organisms that lack membrane, enclosed nucleus, and organelles. It said evidence for this is the fact that
mitochondria
and chloroplasts both contain their own DNA and RNA, which strongly suggests that they were once free living organisms that came to live inside of some host cells.
See that? So we came to live inside of human bodies. Other nations were actually created in human bodies. We came to be in human bodies. This is by their own documents. We came to be in human bodies. They are living with inside of their bodies. We are projecting through these bodies. Bro, we different. We're not the same at all. We are guys projecting, having human experience, and these are not even considered humans, bro. We finna read it.
Above all nations,
man, we are. Now check this out. So check this out, y'all. Now, when you get into mitochondria, y'all Google something and write this down. It's called the mitochondria Eve DNA. Well, all things trace back to this. It's called the mitochondria Eve DNA. Everything is based off this. This is actually a doctor term, the mitochondria Eve DNA. The mother of all living. They straight call it this. Now let's get into it. So we looking at the mitochondria. It says mitochondria, an organelle found in a large number of most cells in which the biochemical process of respiration and energy reproduction occur. It is a double membrane, the inner layer being folded inwardly to form layers. Now look, this is what we got. Now this is what plants got. The only people that come close to us, or the only entities that come close to our DNA, is trees and plants, mimicking why we are related to trees all throughout the Bible. Right? Now check this out. It's going to talk about this prokaryotic cell and this mitochondria and about where it come from. What that say, bro?
Right here.
Yep.
It said extraterrestrial.
No. What say?
It said where did life originate and how?
You see that? Where did life originate and how? Man, this stuff gonna get deep, y'all. Come on.
It said extraterrestrial. In 1969, a meteorite left over bits from the origin of the solar system.
All right. So in 1969, a meteorite hit Earth. Boom. You already know what the European gonna do. They the nosiest group of people on planet Earth. They finna go and they finna experiment.
Go search them out.
They finna go see what they finna go see what they'll enter. You know, they think this is their Earth. What entered my Earth atmosphere? So they finna go check it out. Right? Come on.
And landed near Alí, Mexico.
Look this stuff up. This is documented. All right. This is documented. Come on.
Alí meteorite and others of its sort have been analyzed and found to contain amino acids.
So check this out. So look, they find these meteorites and other meteorites that dropped in Mexico. Remind you, this is 5 years after Operation White Sand, where that meteorite, where that spaceship came and 9-foot black man stepped off of it with locks. Talking about they came back to get their people, right? 5 years later, a meteorite hit in the same place. Look this stuff up in Allende, Mexico. Now look, it says when they started actually analyzing the meteorites, they found amino acids on the meteorite. Now check out what these amino acids are. Come on.
The building blocks of protein.
Right.
One of the 4 organic molecules groups basic to all life.
Come on.
It said the idea of
panspermia
hypothesized that the life originated out in space.
So it says that the life, whatever DNA that was on this rock, it originated out of space. But we gonna read this same DNA is in only us, bro. We gonna read it. Watch.
And came to Earth inside a meteorite.
You see that? So we came to Earth inside of dust, inside of rocks.
Recently, this idea has been reviewed as cosmic ancestry.
Wow. So we have something called cosmic ancestry. That's powerful, man. Meaning our ancestors are from where? Ain't this all in the scripture though? It's all in the scripture. Yeah, dust and rock. Come on.
The amino acid recovered from the meteorites are in a group known as exotics.
You see that? That's what they calling us, exotics. Come on.
They do not occur in the chemical system of living things.
Come on.
The ET theory is now not considered by most scientists to be correct. Although the August 1996 discovery of the Martian meteorite.
Look that up. Look, they got all type of blackout paperwork that they leaking now. They leaking this stuff. And it's something called Above Majestic. Y'all watch that. A documentary. Man, look. Hey, they telling it all, bro. They telling it all, man. Straight up. They got black human beings with locks locked up in places, experimenting with them and everything, man. Alien abductions, and then when they come back and they tell you what they look like, they're like, man, I don't know about y'all, but I was kidnapped by a black man on a spaceship. Like, hold on, hey, I'm just saying, man, what's going on? About
Martian meteorite, and it is possible fossils have revived thought of life elsewhere in the solar system.
Exactly. It's called Melchizedek. It's a cosmic consciousness up there sitting on the throne with millions and millions of myriads of angels that look just like me and you. It makes sense. And they come to Earth all the time according to scripture. Come on.
Supernatural. Since science is an attempt to measure and study the natural world, this theory is outside science, at least our current understanding of science.
So they scared of it because it's pseudoscience. And like, man, niggas is angels from heaven. We don't really want to dig too far in this research, straight up. Because if this get out, hey, it could be a full-blown rebellion. Negroes gonna be trying to go back home. You know what I'm saying? Hey, straight up. Go on.
Science classes deal with science, and this idea is the category of non-science.
Come on.
Procreate.
Or prokaryotic cells, which are we. Come on.
Or amongst the most primitive form of life on Earth.
See that? So it says prokaryotic cells are the oldest lifespans on Earth. We're the oldest. It's called the mitochondria Eve DNA. Look it up. Come on.
Remember that primitive does not necessarily equate to outdated and unworkable in an evolutionary sense.
So it's saying just because it says primitive don't mean we monkeys and gorillas and we old. Primitive just mean it's the oldest. That's all it means. Come on.
Since primitive bacteria seem little change and thus may be viewed as well adapted for over 3.5 GA procreate. Pro
before, come on.
Coro
nucleus. We was so look, it's saying that our DNA trace back before prokaryotic cells ever even came together, bro. Meaning, bro, because prokaryotic cells came together here on Earth. So how is it DNA of prokaryotic cells that already have life existing substance in it on that rock that came to Earth? Then 5 years before that, a spaceship came. And it was black people that jumped off with locks talking about they come back to get their people. So the scientists, Project White Sand. Project White Sand. So look, they terrified, bro. I would be too, though, if I done subdued the people for thousands and thousands of years only to find out that their ancestors are aliens. You know what I'm saying? Hey, with way better technology than me, I'd be kind of scared too. Come on.
These organisms lack membrane-bound organelles, as seen in Figure 5 and 6. Some internal membrane organizations is observable in a few prokaryotic
Autotypes,
such as the photosynthetic membranes associated with the photosynthetic chemical in the photosynthetic bacteria.
All of this saying our DNA always check to be from outer space, not here. Now, according to them, they say that we're not full human beings according to them on their documents because of that. Because, bro, if you actually check our blood clinically, bro, we are not from Earth. We not. And that's why they build blood plasmas, because they want our plasmas, bro. And we have adrenochrome inside of them. We have melanin, bro. Our melanin inside of our bones are like fifth dimensional, bro. The melanin is non-destructive. You can't even destroy it. It's like water. It takes the form of everything. It holds intellect, intelligence, bro. So that what they do is they test our blood and then they do social experiments and stuff on them because because they don't know where we from. They just don't. The only thing they know is we not from here. But if we go back to our culture and we read the book, it tell you where we from. We from the heavens. Yeah, so that's just deep. That's deep. Yeah, Abraham's star seed. Yeah, because that's what we are. We come from the stars, man. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. And I want to leave off with one scripture, then we'll do a part 3. Let's leave this off. Man, what I want is got so many scriptures.
I'm reading these big words. Bro.
Yeah, man. How you get better? Photosynthesis. Let me just deal off at Proverbs 29. Proverbs 29, 10 through 15. Let me get back here. Proverbs 29, 10 through 15, family. Then we're going to go and shut this down. I know we've been live for a little taste. Matter of fact, yeah, let's leave it off with that Toby. Yeah, let's leave it off with that. Let's leave it off with that. All right, we got one more scripture, y'all. One more scripture.
I got you, bro. Which one, Toby?
No, you gonna do you doing Proverbs 29 and just do 15. Proverbs 29 and 15. Okay.
Proverbs chapter 29.
Let me get there real quick. Proverbs 29 and 15. Y'all getting some understanding so far?
Yeah.
I know that still be trying to be kind of deep, man. You know what I'm saying? But man, it be needing to be brought out, man. To do. All right, and remember we talking about training up our children. Come on.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom. But a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
See that? And that's the reason why we have to have our total focus and attention on our children, whether it be the rod or whether it just be to give them wisdom. And actually, the rod is wisdom if he need it. And the rod don't always have to be in a form of beating. You know what I'm saying? The rod is just simply correction, period. Yeah. Now, sometimes your child do need his butt whooped, though. But we have to be totally focused on them and their education, because education, according to the so-called Negro, education is political, economical, spiritual, military-wise, all of that. So our education is the number one thing, because education just means you're being taught something that is going to bring you basically up and elevate in life. And our main education needs to be the curriculum that's evolved around our culture is the Bible. So what we need to be doing as us, we need to get together and straight be coming up with a Hebrew curriculum, y'all. That's what we need to be doing based off YAH'KI. And going around and giving, not even selling this curriculum, but giving it away to other Black communities. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing is to teach them how to be revolutionary. That's the whole thing, to take back their culture. Imagine that. And we start doing that by the 1,000, man. That'd be wonderful. Read that one more time.
Verse 15 again. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
All right.
When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous shall see their fall. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yeah, he shall give the light unto thy soul.
Praise. I want to do one more thing. Let me show y'all something. Y'all pick up y'all phones again. We're finna show y'all the code of DNA and how it look like Yahweh on there. It's structured just like the name of Yah. I'm finna play that real quick.
So when we start looking for the Lord, where do we go? Well, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Y'all see this?
In the beginning was a symbol, and the symbol was with God, and the symbol was God. Symbols are very important. We use them to organize,
This is DNA coming together. You see we got carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen too. All of these making up a DNA strand. That deal straight says Yahweh. It says Yah. Right in your DNA. Written in there.
The same things that wrap the earth 6,000.
Yeah.
The code they found on there. The code they found inside our DNA matches up with the name of the Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
In Hebrew. You feel me? And you can't make that up. You feel me? And this is on the I think the 700 Club a while back. And a dude, his friend was killed right after he revealed that.
Yeah.
His friend revealed that to him. 2 days later, he was found dead. What else to say?
Designed to communicate, to observe our world. Symbols are what elevate us above animals.
And that's when you see in the beginning was the word. That word, if you look up that word, it means logos or symbol. You know what I'm saying? Logos are symbol. That's why if you get into the ancient Hebrew, the letters were symbols. You know what I'm saying? The left was an ox head. You know what I'm saying? The bet was a home or a tent. The camel was a camel lying down, rising up. You see what I'm saying? So he's talking about the word of symbols, of logos. And then remember it said that the DNA was genetic information that controlled, to give instructions and how the cells was going to evolve, right? Well, we see inside and embedded inside our DNA is Yahweh's name. That's deep.
And I think that in Satan's bag of tricks, just the manipulation of symbols alone is a tool that's capable of controlling mankind. This is a very interesting use of symbols. A friend of mine who worked for the New World Order, very high up in the New World Order.
I heard that. So a friend that worked with the New World Order is what gave him this knowledge.
And he was one of their mind-controlled slaves. He had been part of the Illuminati. And one day, his photographic memory wrote down this formula. He said that the tetragrammaton, which is the symbol that stands for God, equaled a formula for DNA. And I
see that. So the tetragrammaton, or what you call YAH'KI, what you see on that wall, and right there, yeah, right there, that equals your DNA. This is science.
In the name of God.
I'm not saying it does or doesn't. I thought this was a very interesting use of symbols. My friend was to visit me on January 12th. On January 11th, he was murdered.
That's deep.
Yeah,
they be telling on themselves.
That's right.
They be telling on themselves. We're gonna lead us off at Toby, and we're gonna get up out of here.
That's crazy.
What my screen share thing is? Here you go. All right, let's get that Toby. We're gonna get up out of here, y'all. One more. Let's get it.
The book of Toby. The book of Toby, chapter 4, verse 12. This is him talking to his father, or his father talking to him. It says, beware of all whoredom my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of your father, and take not a strange woman to wife.
You see that?
Which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Now, therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in your heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of your people, and not taking a wife of them. For in pride is destruction, and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay and great want. For lewdness is the mother of famine.
See, I just let you know. So look, so it's supposed to be Hebrew education, Hebrew morality, Hebrew spirituality. We're supposed to be marrying each other. We're supposed to be truly mentally and physically separating ourselves from this system. This is the only way that we can truly say and become free. So all that June 19th stuff is straight, boy, lies. Lies.
Proclamation was based off a lie. That's the byproduct of that.
Yeah. So a lot of it, we gotta truly start with our children, though. We have to start with our children. Got to.
And he called it lewdness.
Yeah, that's all.
And whoredom.
Yeah.
He called it in that chapter, in that verse.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying? You not married amongst your own. It's called whoredom and lewdness.
And whoredom is a sin.
And it says you don't love if you don't love your brother, you don't love your people if you out there doing that. I'm like, wow.
That's deep.
You know what I'm saying? And he said, look, we the children of the prophets. Basically what I keep saying the whole day. Like, look, we superior. We above all that.
And so we need to be teaching our children that, not anything else. You know what I'm saying? And then once you teach them that way, they're going to be able to look at the world and be like, well, if you're teaching me this, Abba, then why it's not like that? I'm glad you never asked, because it's time to go to war and take that back. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be training up revolutionary children. That's our main focus and goal. Anything else, you're spinning wheels and wasting your time. Straight up. Our children was created to be our protectors, and our women was created to help us. So everybody got to play their proper role and position, and you are a biological weapon of Yahweh. So we need to be doing that. We not, and that's the reason why we still in the same position that we in. So it makes sense. And you can't say you at war with a system that's still feeding you, clothing you, and giving you drinking water and educating you. You just can't do it. It's like going to the government and asking them to give you money to provide them, for you can provide yourself artillery to go to war against them. They won't do that. But that's what we do when we go and celebrate graduations. What is so fun about your children learning the slave system and making it to the 12th grade doing that? Or going to their colleges to get their European names written on your certificate. How do that make you any smarter learning their system? Their very system is what got you in the position you in now. So we have to change that construct. We have to change and rewrite the narrative. We need our own schooling, own housing, own land, own food, own economical structure. Our household need to become individual banks. We need to be banking with each other. Everybody in here is supposed to have their own thing going. Y'all should be having sewing companies. You should be the one with the fruits. You should be the one with the herbs. You should be the one with the clothing. You should be the one with the, you know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be, that's going to build the community right there. And then we only spend it and we buying amongst each other. And we can even get rid of the dollar at this point, and we can just do trading. You know what I'm saying? You need some fruits. Hey, I need a dashiki made. Let's make that happen.
Oh, you weren't dashiki.
Man, you know what I mean, man. You know what I mean, man. Turban made. Whatever it is. I need something like that made. A going right, a going. A dashiki with some fringes on it. But you see, y'all get what I'm saying, though, right? All praise. But that's what it's gonna take, man. You know, Mally always gotta say something. No, we're not Hamites. We're far from Hamites. Far from Hamites. All right, so if y'all got some understanding, give me some YAHUDAHS. Y'all got some understanding on the chat, give me some nines, and then we can go and pray out.
What is that joke?
He's down there beating up on his album. All right, let's go pray on out, y'all.
All praise going out. That's some class.
Oh yeah, all praise. Hope I went too deep for y'all. I'm talking to the online.
You just said we were children from heaven.
Hey, we are. Better unlock that DNA.
This make me read them long words.
Hey, you did good though, bro. See, I made you read. Hallelujah. All right.
Hallelujah.
Make him read. They ain't read all these big words. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Yabareka Yahweh Veish Merika Yair Yahweh Puna Elika Vikuneka Yesa Yahweh Puna Elika they are same Shalom. They are same Shalom. Yabareka Yahweh Veish Merika Yair Yahweh Puna Elika Bikuneka Yesa Yahweh Puna Elika they are same Shalom. They are same Shalom. Amen. Hallelujah.
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 Amen. The Most High shall bless you, and He shall keep you, and He shall shine His face upon you. He will bless you, He will keep you, He will give you peace. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Heavenly Father, Yahweh El Yon, we come to you in the name of Adon, the Master, Yahushua Mashiach. We take authority over Satan and all his evil spirits from our position at the right hand of you, Yahweh, seated above every name that is named, in the power and the authority of Adon, the Master, Yahushua Mashiach. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against and attack and break the back and bind the strong man powerless over every heathen nation that is oppressing the 12 tribes of Israel. This very second, we cast them down and we cast them out through a herd of swine in the name and the authority of Yahushua Mashiach. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war. We loosen all your ministering angels of warfare. Send forth your most militant and elite angelic warriors to break the backs and crack the skulls of every ruler of darkness. To break the backs and crack the skulls of every principality over all the worldwide organizations. The 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, the Rothschild bloodline, the Astor bloodline, the Bundy bloodline, the Collins bloodline, the DuPont bloodline, the Freeman bloodline, the Kennedy bloodline, the Lee bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Rockefeller bloodline, the Russell bloodline, the Van Dunn bloodline, and the Merovingian bloodline, the House of Saud over Saudi Arabia, the House of Windsor, the Popes, Jared Kushner, Henry Kissinger, Robert Gallo, Ayatollah Khomeini, Bill and Melinda Gates, Anthony Fauci, all their bloodlines. We bind all of them powerless. We bind the strong man over all Masonic orders in every religion, Catholic Church and Vatican City, communist empires and Yahweh's governments, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, the CIA, MS-13, La Cosa Nostra, the Mafia, Hamas and Boko Haram, every street gang and drug cartel, the Illuminati, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the World Council of Churches, the Americas, every common market nation, Canada and Mexico, every organization that has rituals that are contrary to the word of the Heavenly Father and the authority of Yahushua Mashiach. We take power over all foul and evil spirits, authorities, princes, kings, powers, world rulers, and the highest and mightiest servants of Satan. We bind them to be powerless. We bind them to be powerless in the mighty name of Yahushua Mashiach. Yahweh, in the authority of the Master Yahushua Mashiach, we pronounce the judgments written in the scriptures upon these evil and greedy conspirators in and over these worldwide organizations. As it is written, Yah, we ask you, we beg you to bring upon them the judgments found in Psalm 109, that chapter, Psalm 149, that chapter, and Revelation 18, that chapter. Yahweh El Yom, the owner, the creator and possessor of all there is, in the name of your only begotten beloved Son, we bring before your throne all the sick in Israel, all who may be plagued in mind, body, or spirit. Your word says, whatever we bind on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever we loose on earth is loosed in heaven. We claim authority. We claim power in Yahushua Mashiach, who is seated at your right hand right now. Right now. We loosen all your ministering angels of health. Command them to rain down a healing that is complete, a healing that is understood right now. Right now. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against an attack, to break the back and bind the strong man called the coronavirus. And the fear of it that's plaguing the minds of your people, we declare it powerless. We cast it down and we cast it out to a herd of swine. Use us as your battle axe and weapons of war to come against an attack, to break the back and bind up every sickness and disease that's afflicting your people this very second. We declare them all powerless. We cast them down and we cast them out to a herd of swine in the authority of Yahushua Mashiach. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray. Yahweh El Yon, Yahweh Tzibaoth, Master of the heavenly armies. We loosen all your ministering angels of warfare. Command them to rain down and crack the skulls of every virus and every sickness that's plaguing your people this very second. Command them to establish a protective border around your saints. Command them to come against, confound, and put down every sickness and unclean spirit that is in opposition to the well-being of your people. Command them to render a judgment in our favor right now. Right now. In the name and the authority and the power of Yahushua Mashiach. And by his mighty and precious blood we pray. Yahweh El Yon, Yahweh Yireh. We loosen your ministering angels of provision and blessings. Command them to shower us with the blessings of Abraham, your friend. Command the blessings of Deuteronomy 28 to chase us down and overtake us. Command Ruach HaKodesh to give us a continual overflow of your spirit. Command the fruits, the gifts, and signs of Ruach HaKodesh to chase us down and overtake us. That wherever the sole of our feet tread, we may boldly declare the kingdom of heaven is now. The kingdom of heaven is now. The kingdom of heaven is now. The reign of Yahweh is now. Accept our petition and accept our prayer in the name and the authority of Yahushua Mashiach. And through his mighty and precious blood we pray and we declare war on the kingdom of Satan. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yahweh. Real thing is.
Praise. Hope this lesson was very beneficial to y'all. Most High willing, we'll see y'all later. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom alaikum, family. Peace.